Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 24 of the Retrocast Anime Edition, also known as Worldwide Webcast. I'm joined today again with Tori. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing fine.
Awesome. And my other host, JD.
Yo, man, I'm glad to be here. This will be a fun episode. We have quite the agenda ahead, don't we?
Oh boy, yes we have. No fake at all. This excitement. Anyway, how are you guys doing?
No fake excitement here. Aren't you excited? I'm excited. I took my crazy pills this morning.
I'm so excited.
How have you guys been during these 2 weeks we were off doing our stuff?
Same old. Still applying for internships. I've got exams coming up soon. And yeah, basically just that.
And you, JD?
The bowling season for the summer just started back up, so I qualified for a higher end league with a bigger payout. So hopefully, I'll make some money. That's my hope there.
Always good.
Still working. Yeah, still working through God of War. I kind of put that off on a little bit to focus on bowling, and then just some other podcast stuff. I got the wrestling one going pretty well now. Got a big double community kind of group watch tonight for a German indie pay-per-view. So a lot of stuff happening with the Red Leaf Retrocast. I've been trying to keep up and make better.
Awesome. Always good to make everything better. I myself, my life is kind of a mess right now. Final paper and exams coming up. Bunch of things. At least I got a golden star in my final paper, and I'm happy. I took the day off yesterday.
Right, you did.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. My sleep is all fucked up. I had to rewrite everything in 3 days. It wasn't an easy task, but I did it. I succeeded. I'm gonna look it up later today morning on my final paper, but it's fine. But today we're not here talking about how miserable I am, but to, do some interesting stuff. We're gonna review an anime called SaiKano, Sai Shuheiki's Kanojo or She the Ultimate Weapon from 2002. As well, read and answer some questions. But first, we have some interesting thing to talk about, which are some stuff we received in the mail. And we receive from time to time, and we want to share with you. Yeah. Because we know we do that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Real, this is bullshit. Okay, open the door and let's take a swing at the motherfuckers.
So, what we've done is we have compiled a couple of hate mails that we got. I just felt like, reading them up on the podcast because it could be a little bit fun. So, since there's nothing here addressed to me...
They're not even hate mails.
I know.
Shit posting.
Yeah. Since there's nothing here addressed to me, but there's stuff addressed to both Hickey and JD, I'm going to read it up for them. And then they can respond.
Yeah, I guess we know who the favorite host is.
That'd be me.
It's not even close, apparently.
Yeah.
Hickey, we need to step up our game. Make better opinions.
Yep.
Make more friends with the anime community.
No, I'm cool. I don't actually be friends with those people. Those anime fans.
Disgusting. Alright then. Let's start off. JD, are you ready?
Sure.
Because the first one is addressed to JD. It says...
Of course it is.
I hate your podcast, JD. Nothing but hate for all the best anime and video games of all time.
Yeah, it really gets me where it goes. What I'm trying to do here. Well, that person will be happy to know that he can also hate the wrestling one too.
There's so much to hate on.
There's so much to hate on. Well, just hate everything. Hate. That reminds me of the Dave Chappelle skit with the hater awards. You know, every time he's like, I worked hard to bring this hate all around. Hate.
Well, you know, personally, I just feel like, you know, we don't hate on the best anime and video games of all time. Why would we? I mean, maybe the video games. I'm not on the video game podcast. Maybe you guys are totally fucking up over there, but on the anime cast, we have nothing but the right opinion, so, you know. But, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So let's just, let's move on, because there's another hate mail here addressed to JD. And it says, you, JD, have put together a podcast just to continue hearing your shitty voice. Give it up. And honestly, he's figured you out, JD.
Has he now?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
I never pretended to not have a shitty voice.
No, but everyone knows that you just made this podcast. You made a Red Leaf Retrocast podcast just because you like hearing yourself talk. You sit there listening to yourself all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially when I talk to myself, all three of me.
Yeah, you just narrate your day. It's like, oh, now JD's gonna eat some cereal, and here comes JD and opens the fridge, and oh, look at that, there's milk. JD grabs the milk. Oh, he's so happy now.
I narrate my own life.
Yeah, just so
I
how
actually
much you
have
like to
deep
hear.
conversations with my cat, just waiting for the day he'll answer. Luckily, I answer.
But only I answer. Only I get to talk. The day he talks, he will shut up forever again. Alright. But we also have some hate mail for this podcast resident Mexican guy.
Yeah, I guess that's me.
And the first one goes like this. That guy Hickey needs to learn English before ever being on a podcast again.
I agree. I actually agree. I know I don't have a lot of vocabulary sometimes, and the words fail me. If you're talking about the accent, it's not going away. It's part of the charm of being a foreigner, and a Brazilian foreigner. But yeah, the problem is I don't have anyone to speak English with. Like, no one in my inner circle of, you know, my inner social circle, they don't speak English. So the only time I'm actually speaking English is on a voice chat twice a week. Sometimes I don't even go to the voice chat throughout weeks and weeks. You know, one day, you know, until then, I'm not quitting the podcast, so you better quit your life, I guess.
Ooh. Yeah. Hickey also speaks a lot of different languages as well, and English isn't even his second language, so, you know, there's that.
All that proves is this guy Hickey's smarter than probably everyone.
Well, yeah.
No.
That's how it goes. The resident Mexican guy. Speaking of Mexican guy,
But he's still not number one anime podcast
he
host.
is not.
Sorry.
That is me.
People don't like
anyway.
smart people.
Yeah, I know,
Yes.
right? I know, right? Well, people don't like Mexicans, which is the next
Well,
piece of
that's
hate
true.
mail.
Oh my god,
Which is the
Tori.
next piece of hate mail that says the Mexican guy is the definition of a shitty weeb and should never be on a podcast. I'm seeing a trend here. Thanks for Too Hard, though.
Yeah, and like he says things for Too Hard. I don't know if he's saying like things for the podcast about Too Hard or telling him about the game, because the game is amazing and you can like have intercourse with like 10 chicks and they're very cute most of the time.
Sounds amazing.
Is the main character
Right?
flaccid?
I don't know.
No. Who knows?
Yeah. Well,
I know I was flaccid watching the anime we're going to discuss later.
uh,
A lot of people were flaccid during that anime. Not only you.
yep. Oh, well. So, we have one final piece of hate mail. Well, hate mail. Honestly, you guys need to step it up if you're going to send us hate mail. I want to cry when I read this. But the last piece of hate mail just simply reads, fuck your podcast and fuck your shitty opinions. Sailor Moon was my childhood and you just shit on it. And honestly, thank you for proving my point that I made on that podcast. Because I said that Sailor Moon fans grew up with that, and they look back on it with rose-tinted glasses. And that's exactly what you just confirmed. Thank you.
Well, I mean, Sailor Moon was also part of my childhood, and I actively shit on it. So, I don't see your point. Are you?
Yeah, we all did. But
Yeah.
Me?
It's even become like this trolling joke in the community. Because I just did a video game episode, and the day it came out, I got hit with this Pro Jared plays Sailor Moon games video on Twitter, like 4 or 5 times minimum.
Nice.
So I think it's just people just continuing that episode.
Yeah.
I also think this message coincided with the 1-star review, our only one on iTunes.
Yeah. So,
Which, by the way, Tori, where should they leave a review for us?
should leave a review on iTunes, obviously, or anywhere else where you can fucking leave reviews on our podcast. Like in Stitcher, or Google Play, wherever. We are everywhere. So just come and find us and leave us your review, whether that be a 5-star one or a 1-star one. And please, if you're going to leave a 1-star one, please tell us why. And if you're going to hate, please do a good job at hating.
Yeah.
Make it count.
Yeah,
Make it worthwhile.
Yeah, make it count. If
If you're gonna shoot the free throw, be sure not to airball it.
We're going to get
be sure
bombarded.
to be better than this, because I really want to make a compilation just like Demolition Day of fan appreciation every year.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Oh, this is why we can't have nice things. Yeah, no. That was just a little segment that we decided to do. I've always wanted to read hate mail. You're like, I fueled off
More
of
like
hate
hate
anyway,
messages.
So do your worst.
Yeah, but it kind of ties in with one of the questions we got
Yes, it
from
does.
one of the former hosts, Joe, also known as Senpai. And he asked, how would you describe the state of anime fandom as of May 2018? And, in my opinion, that kind of shows it. They're just kind of very reactionary. And they're non-combatant. They don't want to combat anything. They don't want conflict. They want everyone to be peaceful and happy, dancing around the fireplace, singing how good anime is. And kind of ignoring what is in the shadow of it. The problems that, of course, it has. Because nothing is perfect. But I guess if you compilate every single anime that comes out in a season and extract the bad things, you're gonna get all the good things, which is kind of obvious. But they don't want you to think like that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. And there's a lot of other problems. I'm afraid that's going to get overshadowed as well in the anime industry and whatnot, because people just, let's look at the bright side of everything. It's like, it kind of reminds me, I remember there was this, I don't remember who it was right now, but there was this one YouTuber, he did like a video series where he would travel to countries, and his goal was to show countries from their good side, or like and it's kind of like, the entire thing kind of just culminates with him eventually going to North Korea, and he's like, instead of focusing on all the bad things, I want to focus on the good side of North Korea. It's like, what the fuck? It's like fucking going to Nazi Germany and go like, instead of focusing on all the bad things, why don't we focus on the good things? It's like,
It led to the total destruction of the country, and look where they're now! They got to essentially start over. There we go, there's the positive.
yeah, no, but like, I don't get that. I don't get the whole like, let's just focus on the good part. Like, looking at negative parts is not bad. I like a piece of criticism. A piece of criticism against something that you
the
like.
Criticism, yes.
It's not an attack on you. But people
definitely.
identify
Like,
identify too much.
This is
with it.
being reactionary. They're reactionary. They see something they like, being like, it's not even like they shut down criticism. It's not even saying the thing is bad. It's like, oh, it could be better.
Yeah.
Where we're just hating. You're nothing but hate for all the best anime and video games.
I feel like we've got that mail before.
Yeah,
Sounds familiar.
So, like, I think it's reactionary, and, in my opinion, it's something that I don't want to be part of
Yeah.
most of the time. Of course, this is not all the fandom. I know you listen to this, and you might like, well, I'm not like that. I know those people exist. But as right now, I think the news online, how, specialized sites, they deal with information, and some employees of those sites, I'm not quoting names. If you guys want to quote the name, you guys feel free to do that, but I'm not doing it. They don't want you to have criticism or do criticism, or even direct to someone that, look, the show you might like is not that good. That doesn't mean your opinion is shit. Doesn't mean the anime is shit. Doesn't mean anything aside from it might have some problems. But people take it as a personal attack, and the major players in the community sees it as his job to protect those people sometimes.
Yeah.
So I know you listen to this and you're not part of those, but it feels like they are more of the biggest part of the community right now.
Yep. Then you have that other part of
I think technology has a lot to do with it as well.
It somewhat does. But then you have the other part of the thing as well, which is, you see that a lot. You see that a bit in Japanese fandom right now, especially over Darling in the Franxx. You got the people sending fucking death threats to voice actors and animators and directors and whatnot, and it's just like, not even them, like them, their fucking families and everything. It's like, how fucking, like, now we're on the other fucking extreme, because now we're talking like, this isn't criticism, this isn't everything, this is you disagreeing with something that has been done in a show, or hating it so much that you are literally committing a crime, because you're threatening people on their fucking
Don't
life.
mess with the 2D waifus, man.
I don't care. I don't care. It's like that shit's not okay. That's fucking.
No.
That is.
No, it's not.
That's the opposite end of the spectrum. That is taking quote unquote hatred and criticism. Well, it's not criticism, but hatred too far. It's just like, you could fucking dislike something, but god damn, control yourself. It's a fucking piece of animation.
That is quite normal in Japan, right? Like sending death threats, and why not? We see a lot in the idol industry.
Yeah, it's sad.
So like this is kind of bleeding into anime.
Yep. Speaking of that,
I think a lot of fandoms are very much passionate in much the same way. Just like when a video game comes out and it's not what you expect, and then or you better yet is the controversy over the loot boxes. Kind of the same way, but that's taken I think a different perspective of how a community would react. Instead of sending death threats to EA, they're like, we're not going to buy your product anymore.
Exactly, but that's to me that's the right response though. If you don't like something, don't support it.
Exactly, yeah, and it seems anime fans will just continue watching it. Just for a visceral reaction.
Yeah. So it's the same thing that I understand. Like, you will buy something to hate on it. It's like, why?
But that's only one small part of the community.
Yeah, it is, but it's a vocal part, and it's annoying.
That gets noticed.
It's a vocal part, and it's annoying. But anyways, why don't we move on to the next question, which is, what are some of the positives and negatives of anime now versus retro anime? Anyone?
Quality.
Quality, definitely quality.
Yeah.
Quantity.
Quantity has gone up a lot.
Quantity with quality. I think it's the best way to put it.
Yeah, a lot more to choose from. A lot more diverse, I would say.
I mean, there is definitely. I will agree with that. Like anime nowadays, they have a lot more smaller segments that they're trying to hit. Whereas anime of the 70s, anime of the 80s, it was like mecha was the giant thing there. So.
World Masterpiece Theater.
Yeah, but that's kind of like, those are the two, right? It's mecha, World Masterpiece Theater. So it's like aimed at boys and men, like robots and war aimed at boys and men, or slice of life, coming of age stories aimed at women and children. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the best positive, at least I can take from retro anime, is you kind of have an idea of what you like, what you're going to look for, and what's good in those senses.
Yeah.
I think the one positive is like there wasn't a lot of anime. So you would have this very long series, like long running series, and everything would be more fleshed out and kind of more better explained. As in nowadays, although we have a lot of more, like way more series. More serious, I lost my thought anyway. More serious, they are shorter and more like
More split up.
produced in
Concise.
line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's more.
Yeah, it's kind of
How can I
like,
say
you know, you're kind of,
It is
they're
more
trying to appeal to the
market
market.
focused.
Yeah. They're trying to appeal to the market in a different way, where they're kind of just like, the market wants so much. So it's like, rather than, you know, finishing something, it's kind of like, you know, you see with a lot of stuff adapts manga as well, right? So it's like, as soon as that gets popular, a manga gets popular, that needs an anime, and it needs to come out now, right? And it's like, it needs to come out with everything else.
Where's my promise Neverland?
Yeah. Nah, but I mean, it probably will get something eventually, maybe. Who knows?
Oh, I'm sure.
But like, I mean, but that's kind of, that's the thing. But I also want to touch on something like, which I think can be both a positive and a negative. But I want to touch on the positive of retro anime as well. And that is, as weird as it goes, if you look at some of the amount of, like, wartime, for example, wartime anime, like Grave of the Fireflies, for example, even Devilman, which at this point was mostly in the manga. You have these kind of depictions of the atrocity of war and whatnot, and it's incredibly, like, it's kind of it's an amazing, like, reminder of quote unquote humanity at its worst. It's how bad stuff can get, versus when you see a lot of war anime now. I will say a lot of war anime now is way more quote unquote romanticized, in the sense that it's like, it's the good guys versus the bad guys, and you need to stop the bad guys.
Yeah, especially with like the power of love and believing,
Yeah.
and they
Friendship
tend to
and-
focus. Yeah, it's a lot of that in today. Not to what war. Like, take Zeta Gundam. Like, one of the main characters like loses his goddamn mind, like, for realsies. But in today, it's always like I'll take what would be a good example of that?
Schwarzenmarken?
You'll have like you'll have Moe ship girls. There you go.
Yeah,
Schwarzenmarken.
Schwarzenmarken,
No,
yeah.
Schwarzenmarken.
Like, you have a whole different kind of I mean, granted, like stuff like basically, you have a lot more positive, well, not positive, but like romanticized outlook on war. And what I mean is not necessarily like, oh yeah, war is good, but it's like, they have more focus on when the kill count becomes more important than the message of, you know, why war, and like, well, all of this stuff, like, why does this happen? It's that always becomes kind of weird to me, because like, oh, look at me, I'm so cool, I killed 350 people. Like, okay.
Is it just me, or do side characters die more often in retro anime than today?
Yes, because again, you've seen how anime fans react. There's a whole lot more importance now in keeping characters alive, because, I mean, I've seen interviews with creators and mangakas and whatnot, and they're asked about this, and they oftentimes just say, well, because I don't want to get rid of a character that somebody might like. And
Yeah, not enough balls going around.
well, yeah, because they're afraid of you know, fan backlash, because what if people really like this character, but then they kill him off, and then it's like, wow.
Hey, I really liked Shishio, but that dude needed to go.
Well, it's not even about needing. I don't know. Like, personally, as weird as it
How many
says,
times does Frieza have to die? God damn.
personally, as weird as it says, I want more character death, and what I mean is not like, oh, let's just kill off characters left, right, and center, and obviously it's got to fit the narrative. Like, you can't just kill people off because people need to die, but it's like, I want to see, you know, stop putting characters in like positions where they're like, oh my god, look, you have this very emotional moment where this person got shot right in the chest and he's dying in his next episode. Nice, fine, he's back. Don't worry, it's okay.
No, he's good. He just kind of has a bruise on his upper rib. You know, no big deal.
Or the same things like, this isn't necessarily with war or killing people off. You have this, and even Megalobox did this recently, which is kind of, this is one of the annoying things to create suspense, in which kind of Joe goes down in the fight in a ring, and then you have this like countdown. This is at the end of the episode, and they count all the way up till 9. Like 9, And then the episode stops. It's like, oh shit, he's gonna get up at the count of 9. Start next episode. They start to count it back from 2 again. It's like, okay. And then they get to 7, and then he gets up, and it's like, really? Like, fuck off.
Wait, what?
Well, that's just not continuity.
No, I know, but it goes in the same thing. Not continuity. You kill off a character, but then the next episode he's fine, or he comes back. It's like, no, actually, you look at Phantom, for example. Phantom had that. Phantom Requiem for the Phantom. One of the characters, they literally get fucking shot and fall into the ocean, only to make a reappearance again in the next episode because, I didn't actually get killed. I didn't actually get shot. I'm fine. It's like,
it was the illusion.
Fuck off.
Plot magic.
Plot magic.
You're trying to get a reaction out of fans that isn't even real.
Yeah, I don't like plot magic. Anyways, shall we move on from here and
we shall
get these questions going?
We shall. Okay then, so let's move on. The next question is, what's the deal with Slice of Life's popularity? And as far as I'm concerned, it's just another trend, just like, Mecha was the big one back in like the 80s, 70s, 80s. It's just another trend, really. I don't really have anything else to say there.
Well, it's definitely the quality. I believe, I agree, Tori, that it's definitely a trend. I also think just coming off the last question, the fandom of today want something that mimics real life, but more in a more relaxing way, or maybe experience something in life that maybe is out of the realm of what their normal life is. That's why you see a lot of rom-coms more and more, at least a couple of seasons, that's for sure.
Wow.
I mean, like...
What?
I mean...
Everybody wants to be in love.
Yeah. No, but it's not even
like,
just that.
Something that is out of the realm. Rom-coms.
Of reality.
Wow.
Yeah, rom-coms. No, but like... that's fucking shots fired, JD. God. No, but like... I mean, it's not even just that. It's like... One of the things that... And I feel like having this... like, this definitely appeals to me a lot as well. And that is the coming-of-age stories and whatnot, which is very popular. Because I know, like, especially with, the youth of today and whatnot, there's a lot of people that have questions about, like, what am I going to do with my life? So it's, so I can definitely see there's a lot of that going on as well with the fans. They're like, this is an anime, I can relate to this because this is an anime about a boy or a young boy or a young girl who's trying to figure out, what to do with their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I out of the realm, it was just the first thing that pops into my mind, just to be clear.
Out of the realm of possibility, you will never fall in love and no one will ever love you.
But like, God, I don't, how do I save myself from that one?
I think it's more relatable, and also, I guess, how the Japanese society is nowadays. People, like... People don't want you to go out, people don't want you to socialize, and things like that. So it's kind of not only a trend, but also a two-edged knife, where at one side, you're kind of nurturing this feeling of, hey, life is great, you should go out and do stuff and fall in love with rom-coms, and, if art mimics life, there's something out there for you. So you should go out and, have those stories, have your own story. But on the other side, the other edge of the blade is you are feeding the lack of socialization of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Slice of Life is also popular because of that. The person don't need to go out to have good stories on a society.
Well, to just go further on that, Japanese society right now is, let's face it, at a romantic low, to put it nicely.
Oh yeah.
And even with a lot of, and then you can compare it to being in the West. You're a young teenager. You of course you want romance and slice of life to be this sense of adventure and and this glorious outlook on what I'll just keep with the topic of romance of it being. You know, you have this nice little moment with a classmate, and you want it to be that easy. You know, when's my moment gonna happen? And you get that in these kinds of animes, but in reality, it takes work.
Yeah.
It takes effort. You have
is
to
it.
actually, you know, go out and work through problems, and so that's kind of where I wanted to take it. And Hickey, you kind of opened my eyes to what I wanted to say, so I appreciate that.
I just want to dial it back on that. I just want to dial it back on that
at
a little
least
bit.
$50.
But I
You'll
want
get your money in the mail. Don't worry.
But I just want to dial it back on that a little bit because, like, I feel like some of this kind of get into the whole, like, you know, like the same argument that, like, violent video games fuels violent tendencies kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of that theory applied. It's like, because it's not exactly like this is a unique Japanese thing. It's not like, oh, well, because somebody get to see, you know, them having an experience, they don't want to go out and have, or somebody in a medium go out and have this experience, they don't need to go out and have that themselves. It's not. I'm not going to completely deny, but it's like you at the same time have need to remember, like, especially when it comes to Japan, you need to take into consideration all the other things, such as the strict rules they have between, you know, relationships between different sexes, and how everything in Japan is about work, and how everything else should be pushed. You can do that later, which you also see touched in a lot of different anime, where it's like, every time there's something that relates to romance or hanging out with friends or something, it's the same thing. You have the teacher go, you can do that later. This is an important time in your life. You're studying for college, for entrance exams. You're studying for entrance exams to college. You're trying to get good grades so that you can get a good job. You're working your way up through the system at your job, trying to, you know, gain a higher position, get paid more, do this, do that. You can have all the other things later. So it's like, when it comes to Japan, there's a lot of factors that fuels this. And it's like,
it's funny you mentioned that, Tori. I'm actually going through the end of the Great Teacher Onizuka manga, GTO, and that's like a major theme of the second half of that manga. Something the anime didn't get into really.
Yeah,
is a lot of the teachers and adults, parents are always talking to their kids, you know, being like that exact point.
Yeah.
You know, you're in school. You need to care about this right now, so you can do that later.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of what Onizuka brings to the table is, no, this is an important time in your life to, you know, friends are important. Romance is important. You got to learn, you know, these things in life early, otherwise you won't know what to do with it later, kind of thing. And that's what made like that anime so popular. But like it's one of the most popular anime in Japan ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a reason.
I know.
And
that's kind of the point, because again, I wanted to seem like, oh, Slice. It's kind of. It's like when I see these documentaries, you see them popping up every once in a while. It's like, oh, Japan has a lot of eroges, and that's the or like dating sims and whatnot, and that's the reason why nobody goes out to get a girlfriend. It's like, well, I don't think that is the full story. I think that is one part of a larger problem.
Are you trying to tell Hickey something, Tori?
Yes, I'm trying to tell him they should go out and get a girlfriend. So should I.
I'm trying. I'm trying. I know, but like, also Slice of Life, one thing that I just thought is, internationally, why Slice of Life is so popular.
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion, like, what I thought is, because it is interesting.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting for a foreigner to look at another culture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about the weeaboos that the Japanese want to be. I'm talking about normal people.
I speak Nihongo desu.
Oh my god. Yes.
I think you broke Hickey a little bit there, Tori.
Yeah,
I hope so.
It is interesting. It is interesting. And one thing I can relate to is like, on the 18th century in Brazilian literature, there was one movement that was basically a bunch of people writing about the life in the countryside. and it was very popular. Like either living in the countryside or living in the nature. So like, it was very interesting because most of people who were reading the books, they lived in the city. And so they have those fantasies about going to the countryside, living with the nature, and that made those books very popular. I think nowadays, especially like as we said before, anime is becoming more and more popular. Having this vision, like this almost romantic vision of a Japanese society, is very reassuring to someone who enjoys anime and never went to Japan, or have plans of going to Japan, or just like the culture. That's why I think it is kind of the same movement, and that's why it's so popular as well outside of Japan.
Yeah. All right then. So, do you want to move on to the next question?
Sure.
I think so.
Yep. I feel like this question is incredibly important. Just, because let's just throw all this we've been talking about away for a little bit and ask the real important question, which is, would you rather a reverse mermaid or a vertimaid?
Reverse, easy. The vertimaid just doesn't work.
Yeah, it is just a question about how much self-harm you're gonna do to yourself. And you think the reverse mermaid is, although it will be scarred for life psychologically, I would better like be a smooth entrance than the other one.
Yeah, nah, the vertimaid is just, there's all kinds of fucky shit going on down there at that point, and it's just like, no, I'm not down. I like I said, I'd rather put the black trash bag over the fish head and get it over with.
Get that hefty bag on top and the Milky Way wrapper down below. Let's go.
I mean, it's not going to be much better because it's going to fucking flop around in there.
Yeah, it's just gonna.
So what's the next
keep
one?
Flapping.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, why don't some of you take these?
No, Tori, you keep taking it away. I quite like this.
Fine.
I can kind of chill and relax here. Have a good little Saturday afternoon.
Of course, you want to relax. Let's go. Okay, we got some
the problems and shit.
Yep, we got some mail from Manuel, and he asked all of us a couple of questions. And first, there are a couple for me, which he asked, "What is my first favorite anime?" And I'm sorry, I've watched over 700 anime. I don't remember what the first one is. I know it's like shows like Higurashi, Fate Zero, Mirai Nikki. They are very early on. Yes, Mirai Nikki was one of my
immediately with you.
Mirai Nikki was one of my first favorites. Yes, I know.
I'm so glad you said it. I didn't have to call you all.
It's like, Tori, come on, just admit it. It's fine.
Hey, it's on my list with a 10. I haven't changed it. So yeah. Anyways, so that happened. Yeah, but if you were asking like specifically my first favorite, I don't remember.
You hear this guy, Hickey? I think he's just trying to beat around the bush the fact that Future Diaries is best.
Well, it is the best, but it's
Probably.
not the first. Anyways, yeah.
It was probably some stuff you watched when you were a kid. Way
Pokemon, yeah, of
before
course.
you knew what Japanese animation or anime was.
I mean, in theory, yes, but I don't remember. I didn't have that. I didn't really look at favorites or whatnot. Just I like this back then. So
Just say Sailor Moon.
anyways, let's move on. The next one he asked is also for me, and that is, what's the first anime I hate and why? And the first anime I hate is also the first anime I dropped, and this one I do remember. That's a little nice little show called the Rio Rainbow Gate. And for those that don't know what Rio Rainbow Gate is, it's not worth your time, first and foremost. But what it's about this goddess of luck. Or I say goddess. She is she works at a casino, the most popular casino, because whenever she shows up, everyone wins. She has the ultimate good luck, and everyone yeah, everyone just wins when she's there. So her casino's incredibly popular, even though, it would be incredibly unprofitable to have her work there, but whatever. So yeah, and ultimately people start there coming to try to take her for her own, for themselves, because she's fucking smoking hot, and yes, she is smoking hot. And just all the female staff there, because they're all smoking hot. So she challenges them to, like,
Sounds like you like it more than hate it.
No.
I think you just wanted an excuse to talk about Real Rainbow Gate.
Yeah, always.
Are you Manuel?
I am Manuel.
That's what I thought.
No, but like what it boils down to is her playing like some sort of like Yu-Gi-Oh style poker game with these people, and then she wins because she is the ultimate Lady Luck and she can't lose. So it's like, okay,
what is the reason? Just simply, what is the reason?
She is trying not to be fucking captured and become these fucking dirty old pervert sex slave. I don't know.
Real Rainbow Gate came out in 2011.
Yeah, it did.
I think that is on my playing to watch list.
Oh my god! Let me know when you're.
Show.
Yeah, it's an ecchi show. Let me know when you watch it, Icky. I want to watch that again at some point, just because I want to see.
It's got a 5.97 mouse score.
I want to see if it's as bad as I remember it, because remember, I watched this back at a time when everything I watched was good in my head. So the fact that I didn't like it back then makes me wonder what I'm going to feel about it now.
It's worse than Mahou Shoujo Ore, according to Mal.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but not by much.
And it's better than Cutie Honey Universe.
Not by much.
Alright, Hickey, you got some questions. You got a couple.
Yeah. The same questions. Manuel asked me the same questions he asked for Tori. And one more. So, okay. My first favorite anime. I guess just like a lot of people in Latin America, my favorite anime was Saint Seiya. There's no way. Saint Seiya's way too damn cool, and sometimes it gets you confused with the gender of the cast. But anyway, I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I guess I watched it when I was a kid, and there was some very traumatic stuff that let me stay awake at night. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, there was a day on Discord where we were talking about Saint Seiya, and you were informing me of some. I didn't realize how gay the show was.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought that Shun was a woman when I started watching it. I was 7 years old. Come on, I was like, why there's a man like voicing a woman? That doesn't make a lot of I see. It's the 70 hairs. Like
it's pretty Fujoshi for sure.
But like I remember when I was a kid, I didn't watch the first episodes. I got it. It was like it was broadcasting on television for like the third time, and I got it was episode 5, I think. No, it's one of the early episodes where Seiya has this vision about Athena, this mummified, because she died alone and was like brought in away. That thing traumatized me, and I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't stop thinking of why that happened to her. So I kept watching it and watching it and watching it, and it was very fun and had a lot of blood sometimes. So I really, really enjoyed the show. So it was my first favorite. Then it became Ergo Proxy, and I don't think it's gonna.
Oh yeah, and we discussed that, I believe, on the very first episode.
Yes, I don't think any anime will take Ergo Proxy place in my heart. Ergo Proxy has a shitload of problems, but I still enjoyed so much the show that it's number one, and I think it's very hard to another anime to surpass Ergo Proxy, in my opinion. The other one is the first anime I hated, and why? Well, hate is a very strong word, and I don't really
Sure.
like watching it, especially because I watch everything, and frankly, I don't think there's anything I hate, but I can talk about the first anime I dropped. And the first anime I dropped, it was after almost 10 years watching anime.
Oh, wow.
And it was Avenger.
Avenger? I'm not familiar
Avenger.
with that one.
It is bad. It is something's going on Mars, and there's some colonies, and the main character wants to kill some guy because of some reason, but she doesn't speak that much, so usually she's just grunting. And that is basically it. As people call her the Avenger, and she complies with every single time. I watched like 4 episodes of that, and I couldn't take it anymore. It's the only anime drop that I made, like I scored. I wanted to score that show because I thought it was very bad. The only show I dropped and I scored is Avenger because it is absolutely bad. The story, it is very linear. The characters are not likable, and you simply don't give a shit about what is going on the screen. I couldn't take it anymore. I dropped. It's not that I hated the show, it's just like I couldn't watch that thing. Now, a show that I really hated, I'm not gonna say the name because I said to Tori I wouldn't comment on that anime again. And the other one is, why did I decide to become a lawyer when I like anime?
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about the question, and I think what he tried to say is, when people like anime, they usually gravitate towards science and arts. So why?
I'd say closer to probably some type of computer degree.
Yeah, I would say science in all.
I don't know that one.
I'm sorry.
Alexa.
I'm sorry.
Alexa, you're like, I don't know what a computer is. You're a computer, I'm not a computer. What are you talking about? And anyway, and I guess there's like 2 answers to this question. The first one is the short one, which is, I really suck at mathematics. I really do. I am bad at mathematics. And the art part is, my father thought that my father thinks arts are a waste of time, so he wouldn't let me do anything art related.
I mean, that's fair enough. That's fair enough, I suppose. There's a good reason for that, that's for sure.
Yeah, so like I never learned how to play an instrument or sing or dance or anything. So the other one is, when I was very young, I had a question in my head, and it was why the world works the way it works. What legitimates someone to do something against me or for me, or what legitimates me to do something or to what legitimates me to be me in this society. And I was like 10 years old, so I was a weird child. Don't mind that. And that grew on me and grew on me and grew on me, and I started realizing that was the thing I wanted to devote my life study. I want to study the society and how it works. So my best bet to understand that was doing law, was going to law school, because law, the society molds the law, but law also molds society.
Sure.
It's
Makes sense to me.
I think it's ibi societas ubi iuris and ibi iuris ubi societas, something like that. It's Latin. And so I was like, I want to study that, and I was very young.
Or you hear this guy, he's speaking Latin on an anime podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Now we just need to get the oh shit, what was that hentai called? Black Butler? No. What am I thinking of?
Black
don't know.
Butler is not a hentai.
No, it isn't.
What's the hentai one?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Me.
Ah,
The only thing you
Black
give me is
Bible?
Black Butler, and all I can think of is Ambition. Black Bible.
Bible Black?
Bible Black.
Bible
Bible
Black.
Black. That was the one. That's the one.
Do we want to make Bible Black? I mean,
I don't want to make Bible Black with you, Hickey. That wasn't the joke.
Well, I mean,
more about Bible Black than anyone else there.
Don't they speak Latin in Bible Black?
I was just about to say, well, I don't mind, but you just shut me down immediately. So okay, fine.
I mean, we can do Bible Black. That'll be a funny hentai episode.
Nah, man, I'm good.
You don't have to be there, Tori. Me and Hickey can get down and dirty with the Bible Black.
Nah, man, you're good.
But anyway, coming back. So I decided I wanted to do law because of that. Also because I was very good at grammar, literature, history, sociology, and philosophy. So like, I'm going to just
all the things that I'm bad at. We're completely opposite in that sense.
I was like, well, I'm just going to cruise in law school. And surely I did. But that is not the point. Then basically I decided to do law because I really wanted to study society. And my plan was to become an academic, not a lawyer. Go to law school, get my degree, get my master's degree, my doctorate degree, and either write about law, write about society, and, give classes. But when, after I started law school, I kind of discovered that being a lawyer is awesome. And it is really fun, and that is something I really want to do. But also, another point that I forgot to mention is that when I was younger, my second option to college was actually physics. So, I'm not too far off. I would either be a lawyer or a physician. And I decided to be a lawyer.
Yeah, I knew a bunch of people that did physics in college, and not many of them stick with it.
Oh, it is hard. It is hard as you can get.
Yeah.
And the mathematics kind of made me go towards law.
Definitely going to cut you off here and just move on to the last question. For the weebs, will you ever do Code Geass? I assume he's meaning a retro review. Code Geass is not retro yet. It won't be 15 years old for another 3.5 years. Maybe if we're still doing the podcast during that time.
Probably not, though.
That's the short.
Probably not, though.
That's the short answer.
We'll have a lot of other things to cover still, I assume. So, if we're still doing so.
But we have
maybe
some future plans. You have some future plans of expansion, and maybe Code Geass can get in that plan.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But it's still 3.5 years away based on our current rules, so who knows? But all right, we got a couple other segments coming up. The main one, maybe a lot of people are here for, if you're a seasonal watcher, is the Spring 2018 Anime Mid-Season Roundup. So let's get into that here. What do you say, guys?
Sure.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
All right.
No, not sense. Yeah, sure. Doesn't make a lot of sense you asked me because I'm not watching anything.
Hey, have you ever watched an episode of anime and been confused about what the hell happened?
Honestly, that sounds like every anime I have ever watched.
Well, guess what? At the Nerdum and Other Nonsense Anime Podcast, we have a patented process for deciphering the current hit anime week to week, so even you can understand it.
That's right. We climb into an anime's cockpit, attach handles to its ass, insert ourselves doggy style, and gently explore its inner workings until completion.
Well, guys, this ad just got really weird, so...
There's plenty more innuendo where that came from on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube at Nerdum and Other Nonsense. Come check us out.
You know you want to, darling.
Are you here because you're following the will of others? Or are you here on your own will?
Well, we got 6 anime to cover here. And instead of and Hickey, just for the sake that you don't get bored, basically Tori and I came to a consensus on what the 6 shows we want to talk about are.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And Tori, why don't you take away the first one?
Okay. The first one is obviously My Hero Academia Season 3, because My Hero Academia is back, and it is still being incredibly awesome.
Stronger than ever, I would say.
I'll get back to you on that. Because I fucking really like the second season, but it started off incredibly strong with them going to the training camp, and just it's like they go to training camp, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're entering training arc, like another training arc, but then it's just like immediately like fucking the villains attack, and it's just like, oh god, yes, these are all the people that I've been waiting to see.
Yeah, well, the first episode was a recap. The second episode was let's go to camp.
Yeah.
Then I think, what was it, halfway through the third, they were just kind of like, oh, okay, we're at camp, and then everything went down, and since then, it's been going 110%, full steam ahead, get on that hype train, because we're not stopping anytime soon mentality, and it's not shonen trash, it's just awesome shonen right now.
Awesome shonen trash.
It's gonna be definitely the best part of the manga in this season.
Really? Well, I don't read the manga like a lot of people, but I've really enjoyed what I've seen. The group of villains that were introduced at the end of season 2, like the League of Villains were starting up. A bunch of them have invaded the camp, and for whatever reason, they have a couple goals. And there's just been some pretty cool fights, lots of mayhem, seeing the kids, like, it's basically seeing the kids learn to be heroes on the spot. And it's not just, what is it, Class A? It's also another
B
class
class
involved as well. Yeah. So I like that. It brings new elements, brings new villains, which is always fun.
Well, it's not even just like, it's not even learning that much. Well, I mean, Midoriya had kind of it wasn't even for him, that was for the kid. But it's not even so much about learning to be heroes in this situation. This is like just straight up like, we gotta fight to survive, because this is not a suicide run, because, I mean, from the last episode, the last couple episodes, they're not there simply to either die or kill them. They have a goal. There's a reason why they showed up. But, this is very much a case of just like, we are here to accomplish our goals, and kill as many of you as we can while we're here. And this is pre-planned, like everything. It's total chaos. It is ridiculously entertaining to watch, and just, I love it. It's as simple as that. Like, this is a lot of what I enjoy about My Hero Academia, and it's just, like I said, a lot of cool villains show up. The most recent episode, Toga showed up, which I know in our community, like in our Discord, there's a lot of people that like her and are rooting for her. So seeing her for the first time was, I mean, more than, well, it's not the first time, but actually seeing was something of what she's about for the first time. Interesting. Looking forward to see more of her in the future.
Yeah, My Hero Academia is nothing short of fan service for both the fan service and waifu and husbando bait for a lot of characters. That's for sure.
I wouldn't say nothing about that,
awards.
Alright.
Yeah, not a good.
But I'm looking forward to it. It's a must watch weekly for me.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm watching the simul dub on Funimation, and I don't look back. Don't give me your elitist nonsense. Come on.
Oh, dubs. Oh god, no. That's awful. Anyway.
So real simple roundup there. The next anime is Lupin Part 5. The first 6 episodes. Before Tori, we get into 1 through 5. Episode 6, it was a horrendous piece of trash.
Yeah.
It seemingly was put there as, I don't know, I was informed it might have been like an anniversary type episode. It had to do with Lupin, like, becoming stupid to open a safe that required 0 brain power, but he's the smartest man on the planet, allegedly. It was a slapstick comedy episode, really different from the first 5.
Yeah.
Really out of place. I absolutely hated it. I was just like, I thought about just turning it off and moving on to next week.
Yeah,
I ended up doing other shit half the time.
It was a terrible episode. Like, the problem, it's not even just that, because like, Lupin doing dumb shit like this, that is not out of the realm. This isn't the first time they've decided to just go fucking wacky with a with an episode. They've done this type of shit before, but it's always felt like some sort of purpose, and at least the characters have stayed true to who they are. This episode, no one stayed true to who they are. Lupin wasn't Lupin, Fujiko wasn't being Fujiko, Jigen wasn't Jigen, fucking Goemon wasn't Goemon. It's like, who are these people? Why are you wearing Lupin? Why are you wearing the clothes of the Lupin cast?
Yeah. It was bad, but the first 5 episodes was basically Lupin gets a new girl this season. If you listen to our impressions, first 3 episodes we went into that. The how it I just want to go into how it wrapped up. Tori, how did you think it wrapped up? Because I thought it wrapped up quite well. I liked how it was concluded. I thought it was good. I thought it nailed everything it needed to. The comedy was there. Lupin was a badass. The girl came into her own. She felt like a character that evolved with the story. I liked it overall.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like obviously the pull of Lupin of this like first story arc of Lupin, which isn't something Lupin does very often. They don't tend to do story arcs. It's usually just episodic stuff. But what they decided to do here was kind of like they wanted a mini story arc and just kind of introduce Lupin to the not to the 21st century, but like to modern day, which is, you know, smartphones, tablets, live streaming, death games, you know, everything we have today.
Right.
And yeah, it's kind of just like it was an interesting take on the whole Lupin thing, right? Because Lupin is a master thief and he can get away from everything and no problem. But like I said, when everyone's the police, right? Everyone knows who he is, so everyone's just filming him and keeping track of his position at any time, posting it because of the Lupin game that's going on, and just it was interesting. And yeah,
I quite liked Lupin versus social media and technology.
Yeah,
it was definitely something I can't remember seeing ever before.
No, I know. I fucking love when he creates his own Twitter account, when he's just sick at everyone posting about where he is all the time. So his way to combat it is he creates his own Twitter account and just starts posting his own pictures online. It's got like 11 million followers and whatnot, and it's just like, well, how do you defeat this game where everyone's interested in catching you? Simple. Don't make it ruin the game. Always give away your position, and people are eventually just going to grow tired because, what's the point? We know where he is anyways. So yeah, it's fun.
Oh, I can wait.
And then
to
Tori,
watch.
you've been watching. You got Hickey. You wanted to say something?
No, I just can't wait to watch it when I'm done. I'm almost done.
It's pretty hype. It's pretty hype. Tori, you've been watching a seemingly pretty popular anime. I see a lot of followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
Talking about this show. Is it slice of life? I feel like it's slice of life. It feels like
I call it
goes in that
rom-com.
category.
I call it a rom-com more than a slice of life.
Rom-com, okay.
Yeah. No, like, obviously we're talking about Tadakun Never Falls in Love. And, like, the thing with this, and I know why it's popular. It gives a lot of similar vibes as another show, Gekkan Shoujo no Saki-kun, or Monthly Girls no Saki-kun from a couple seasons past. And,
I've heard that before.
Yeah,
I've heard that about it.
That is a very, and that was a very good rom-com. Tadakun Never Falls in Love. It's similar in certain aspects, but I feel like the comedy is a bit weaker in this one, as well as there are certain aspects of it that just kind of feels like it's an anime with tropes that doesn't belong to quite this era. Like, I'm talking like we have a certain like pre-2010 tropes that are pretty much died out that have made a return in this one. It's kind of an ode to these like slightly older rom-com tropes. So it's like, I like it. It's fun, but there are a lot of the comedy that's kind of like, yeah, this comedy's a bit dated at this point.
So is it meeting your standard, or is it just okay?
I'd say so far it's just okay. Like, if you would have asked me after the first 3 episodes, I would have said, yeah, no, actually, I like this. This is good. And then the like 3 episodes after that, it's kind of just been like, meh. Like, it's there. You see a lot of these like typical, like, I mean, this isn't dead yet, but like the oblivious male character. But this time it's not. Well, it's the main character. We have another guy as well who's crushing over this model chick, and spoiler.
So it just
he's in the same
kind of like
club as
it's
her.
going So does the show feel like it's dragging it all, or it's just kind of going about its business?
It's just
episode
going about
by episode.
It's just going about his business. It's not really dragging.
Okay. So it's just okay. All right. Fair enough.
Introduced a romantic rival in this, like last episode as well, and as per typical rom-com, he is the perfect prince, as in he is literally a prince.
Wait, is he? No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, he is literally a prince.
No.
It makes sense because of the Luxembourg chick. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's what I. Is he like a prince of Luxembourg?
He is a prince of Luxembourg, yes, and
Well, where's the Princess of Liechtenstein?
What do you think?
No. He's in South Korea
God.
somewhere.
Yep. Nah, but like I said, it's fine. It's fun to watch.
Here.
It's fun to watch, but meh. Nothing is.
All right. Well, speaking of meh, God, Major Second. Not to be confused with Major Second Season. This is now focusing on the son of the main character from the series Major. You don't need to watch any of Major to jump into this one. That is my personal take on it. I'm sure anime fans today will disagree, but hey. So we focus on Daigo, Goro's son, who's well, he's not a very likable character, at least right at this point. He's slowly growing into his own, but because his dad's a professional baseball player or ex-professional in the major leagues in America, he grows up idolizing his dad, wants to play baseball. Turns out he sucks. He has a high knowledge of the game, more so than any other elementary school kid, that's for sure. But he's got a weak arm. He's devastated that because there's this high expectation. A lot of the kids on the T-ball team, or not, well, they don't do T-ball in Japan, it seems, but a lot of kids on the elementary school team kind of make fun of him. They're like, oh, because they expected big things out of him. He's just devastated, can't handle his ego being hurt the way it did, and he quits the team and goes on to become just this bitter kid about baseball. He still clearly loves it, but he can't, like, he doesn't have the heart to play. So in like a mindset sense, you can kind of understand, but he's such a brat all the time. The mom and sister try to cheer him up, and he's just like, I can't fucking do this. There's so many other things in the show going on that just kind of irk you, or at least me. Whether you're a baseball fan, there's plenty of things to get irritated with that. It goes into perfect anime territory where Goro, in the first episode, it's him leaving to Taiwan because, why would you bring your family with you to where you're going to live? Mm-hmm. So they just stay behind, and he leaves his 2 kids and wife behind in Japan, and it kind of shows that he left them behind in Japan when he was in the majors, so he's like not even a dad. It reminds me a lot of Boruto in a lot of sense. Yeah.
Crappy child, bad parents.
Crappy bratty child with like a dad that's not even in the picture. Just to touch on some of the baseball things that don't make sense. So Daigo wants to be a pitcher because his dad was a pitcher. Fair enough. He's told he has a weak arm. Why can't, with his high baseball knowledge, he could easily be an infielder and play second base or first base or something that doesn't require a strong arm. Easy solutions never comes up, right? He just straight up quits just to really bring the character down. I don't agree with that at all. It was clearly to set up the second character that's come in, Toshia's son, the one of Goro's teammates who was a professional catcher in the majors. This kid apparently has never played baseball in his life, even though he lived in America. And he's the son of a professional baseball player, so more things that don't make sense. They try to address that. saying he could have played all these other sports, but the fact he doesn't know even the most basic rules of baseball, can't buy it. He wants to learn how to be a pitcher, and he's like, well, I need someone to catch for me. Well, your fucking dad was an ex-professional baseball player as a catcher, so there's just so many things that irk me as not only a baseball fan, but an anime fan of the way it's being written, especially since Major itself was a fairly decent written story. It had good characters. You love the characters. You were invested with them. Right at this point, Major second. I can't recommend it. Now, if you look at it as kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon show, maybe the last couple episodes at this mid-season are getting better for sure, because now we have a purpose and goal in mind. But the show isn't meeting any of my standards that I was hoping for going into it. So I know you guys don't like sports, and you probably aren't into the sport ball of baseball. But
excuse you?
Yeah, I mean,
you like sports anime, Tori, but do you not?
Excuse
you? Do you like baseball? Do you like baseball?
I don't watch baseball, but that's not what you said. You said don't like sports. Since when?
No, well, no, baseball in particular. Since I'm talking about a baseball anime.
Yeah, but you said sports.
I made the joke sport ball.
Yeah, but you said sports. That's not. I don't know. I like football.
I know we all like soccer / the football. Hence why Captain Tsubasa will be a podcast love for sure.
Well, don't be so sure about that.
Oh, come on! It's Captain Tsubasa.
Captain Tsubasa, Tori. Don't hurt on it.
It don't mean nothing. All right,
but yeah, Major the second is incredibly disappointing for me personally.
All right then. So yeah, moving on then, since in true podcast fashion, since we are a professional podcast, obviously talking professionally about the Chinese cartoons, I decided, why don't we talk about a Chinese cartoon? And
I'm down. I'm down for something I'm not watching. I'm actually very curious about what you got to say about this.
Yeah, the Chinese cartoon that I'm talking about is called Creatures Family Days, or whatever it's called in Chinese. I don't remember, and I don't care to look it up. I couldn't pronounce it anyways. So
that's the spirit.
So in order to not offend all our Chinese listeners, I know you're not out there, and yeah, Creatures Family Days is just kind of it's like a 15-minute Chinese animation. It looks fine. A bit poor at times. Well, here's the interesting thing, right? It's about a kid that, or a family. With the youngest kid, he is a genius. He learns everything. His family hired private teachers and whatnot to teach him, but no one could teach him anything because he's just so smart and he learns by himself. So when the teachers show up, he's already learned whatever the fuck they want to teach him. So no one can teach him anything. He's got a couple brothers and sisters, and they are dumb. So since his parents are scientists, what they've done with them is they've decided that they can use them in different ways. So they are their experiments. And they have basically turned them into monster girls or guys. So you have like the brother, he has become a dog. He can like morph between being a human and being a dog. One of his sisters is a spider. She has like the spider leg sticking out of her back. One other sister is a plant, which she can sort of hide. She doesn't need food. All she needs is sunlight and water. She's good. And then you got the another sister who is not at all a monster girl or any sort of animal or whatnot. She can read minds. I have no idea how they managed to do that, but whatever. That's kind of her thing. So it's mostly just it's titled Creatures Family Days. So what happened is one day the police showed up at their door and they were like, "You guys are abusing your family, so your parents are being taken away. They're being jailed because this is illegal. Human experimentation is illegal." And
oh, come on, a little needle poking never hurt anybody, right?
Well, I don't know, but anyways, they get arrested, and since it's in China, they just
I'm sure they even shared needles because it's a family, right?
They probably did, But since this is China, you know, they kind of just say, we're going to take your parents away and arrest them, and you guys have fun making it on your own. Even though you're kids, but, you know, whatever. So, yeah.
Well, maybe they should have had such shitty parents.
I know, right? So, yeah, it's the youngest brother, the genius. It's kind of his job to not raise the family, but, like, he needs to live with them, and he's kind of trying to figure out ways in which they can integrate with society, because, obviously, everyone knows them, so every time they go out, people are like, oh, there's the disgusting animals, fucking freaks of nature. And there's a lot of this going on, which I like. It's very interesting. The problem being that it doesn't focus on this. Instead, it likes to focus on things like, I met this cute girl today at the shopping mall close, or the convenience store near my house, and I got lost on the way back. Because even though I am literally a genius, unrivaled by anyone in the world, like I talked to Joe about this, and he says, no, never mind. It was Hickey. Hickey's theory was that this guy is probably autistic, and I mean,
probably
strong case, because he has absolutely no sense of direction, and he is very, very weird. But I think he's too good with emotion and too good with other people to be autistic. But whatever.
I mean, you have degrees of autism.
It just sounds like it's a character built just to make trope story conflicts.
Yeah, I mean that's not exactly uncommon. This is Chinese animation. But yeah, no, like there are
it's uncommon in anime.
It isn't, but it's a lot less common or uncommon in Chinese animation because they're very much trying to be Japanese animation. But whatever.
Well, yeah.
Like it's interesting. I'm kind of looking at this as the same as like another Centaur. Oh, I forget what it's called. Centaur no Naomi or whatever. I don't remember.
Right.
It's something like that. But which was a anime for not too long back, which was kind of the same thing. It has some interesting like political aspects and just stuff like that in the background. In this case, it's more psychological, and it's there, but it's so weak. And instead, it decides to focus on what, in my opinion, I would consider not necessarily unnecessary stuff, but it's so making like the interesting things are so little, so much less focused on that it kind of feels like what I think would be the point of this show is not the point of the show, and instead it's like I said, I met a cute girl today, and we tried to eat at a restaurant, but everyone stared at us, so we left. It's like, well, okay, yeah, no, I get it. Racism. It's an allegory for racism, people.
So, would you recommend the show?
As of where it is right now, no, not at all.
Okay.
No.
I kind of had enough when in the last episode they went to meet one of the main character's teachers, or former teachers. She was there to try to teach him, and it's like she accepts to meet or she says, "Yeah, sure, I'll meet you. I'll have a talk with you." And then he kind of explains the situation and how they need her help because, you know, they're kids. How the fuck are they going to make it on their own? And then she kind of just has a mental breakdown. It's just like, you destroyed me. You ruined my career because I couldn't teach you anything. And then she kind of just like, yeah, your parents experimented on your brothers and sisters and made them into animals. There can't just be them. They've got to have done something with you too. Yeah, you're a freak of nature. That she just has this fucking PTSD breakdown. I'm saying it's like, interesting. How cool. Why'd you accept to meet them again? Why'd you say yes and then take them with you, take them to a cafe, order food for them and whatnot, only to then all of a sudden fucking have this PTSD breakdown? Whatever.
Well, like, compared to other Chinese animations, how does it stand?
Considering the fact that I've only seen one, worse.
Worse, okay. Yeah, because
that's disappointing.
I've watched like Hitori no Shito the Outcast and some other one.
Yeah, I tried a couple others, but I wasn't into it.
Usually
I just don't think the stories are quite there yet.
Yeah, the story's far from there yet.
Alright. Well, shall I move on to the last one we're going to cover?
Yeah.
Alright. So this is Food Wars Season 4, or otherwise known as Food Wars The Third Plate Second Core, or Food Wars 2018. Just pick a title of what suits you, I suppose.
It's more Food Wars.
It's more Food Wars. This is more or less going into Irena's. She's the daughter of much of the head family that runs the crazy food school.
Miss Goldtongue.
And this is kind of focusing on Irena's redemption story, which at the start of this core seemed like it was going to go head in a direction. Because let's face it, she's been a bitch since like day one.
No.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. Finally, maybe we'll understand like why she acts the way she does. And okay, we did learn that, but she hasn't done anything to bring I feel the viewership to her side. Meanwhile, the organization that's taken over the school by Irena's father, known as Central, has basically they've set in motion to screw over the rebels, the people that want to be against the system. So Soma and his crew, basically, that he's amassed in his time at school at this point. So there's a couple trials at the start, and before the trials got started, Irena kind of busts into their heads like everything she knows. Well done. Typical Food Wars type stuff, like why are you at a school? Shouldn't the teachers be teaching you these things, but the students always end up teaching themselves everything? Mm-hmm. So just like suspend your disbelief there and just enjoy the ride kind of deal. But anyways, they overcome the odds and pass those trials. Where it got kicking was they all get on a train because they have to go to Hokkaido. Well, the train splits. And the idea was to split all of them up so they face their trials individually against various Elite 10 members. And they're all new Elite 10 members because they want Central handpicked them. And Soma's first opponent is the hot spicy dude, the guy who has all the spice powers.
Spice.
So yeah, he's hot and spicy. Let me tell you.
I believe it. I mean,
the show's still no shortage on fan service on both sides, that's for sure. Some hot boy butts, hot girl butts, lots of boobies, lots of muscles being flexed.
That's like that's the fucking selling power of fucking Food Wars, though.
Food Wars.
Like, you got a fucking doujinshi artist to make that manga. Of course, that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I am very impressed on how long they extended Food Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if the second season was kind of a little all over the place,
it was bad.
a lot of the fandom dropped out for sure. I thought it ended pretty well. The third season brought it back for me in particular. The fourth this kind of third season part 2 or fourth season as I'm calling it just makes it easier to keep up. The pace just seems like a million miles an hour. I mean, they are literally on a train. Making the story go by super quick. Luckily, with this arc with Soma facing the only dude that has really beaten him in the school so far, has slowed it down a bit with a couple episodes here. But those first like 4 episodes were just we gotta get this going, guys. Come on, wrap it up. We're on a train here. Next mission, next plot element. Come on. So my hope. I am enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. It just seems a little quick for my liking, even for a shonen. Battle shonen even. What my hope is that they do slow down. Maybe focus on some of the side characters with Soma, maybe meeting them up, and they have like a flashback of how this person failed or how this person passed, what have you. I haven't read the manga, so I'm not spoiled on anything. I hope they go back to focusing on Irena, so at least the fans and audience can come to like her, because I feel like that's kind of the point of why they started the season. So it remains to be seen. So those are my thoughts on it. I think if you're you're still watching it, Food Wars at this point, you're going to continue watching it. So maybe you have the similar mindset I do. I'd be curious to what you, the audience, thinks about it. Just contact me on Twitter at BowlingJD or Red Leaf Retrocast, and we can have an exchange about it. So
yeah, Food Wars lost me at second season.
Yeah, I mean, you're not the only one. It lost a lot of people, but I feel if you're still in it now, you're in it for the long haul.
Not even Nikumi could save that fucking show for me. Not even her.
What about the hot, spicy dudes?
This might come as a shock, but I'm not gay.
You don't have to be gay to admire the masculine muscles and butts of even Soma and company. I mean, come on.
Please, don't start this again.
I'm going to bring you to my side of joking, Tori. Come on.
No.
I'm going to make something. Your clothes are going to explode, and you're just going to be like, JD, make more food for me.
I'm going to leave.
And then you're going to watch Bible Black with me and Hickey.
Sure. I would rather do that. All right then.
Food Wars lost me in the manga. It didn't even had the anime adaptation, and I stopped. I read.
Oh, really?
I read like 30 chapters of the manga. I was like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Damn.
I mean, the pilot.
I guess that would be the first season, wouldn't it? 30 chapters?
The pilot of Food Wars, where Soma doesn't know how to cook, seemed way better than the actual manga.
I don't know. I just watched the baseball anime where the main character sucks at baseball, and I was not into that.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, why don't we move on to why we're all here in the first place?
Go home.
You're already home.
Now, it's time we start dealing with the business at hand.
Hickey,
Yes.
please inform us of this anime you chose.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yes.
When to come out? All the good stuff.
Finally, the point of this podcast. We're gonna review today an anime called SaiKano. The whole title is Saishuheiki Kanojo, which translates to She, the Ultimate Weapon. Not really, it kind of translates to the Ultimate Weapon Girlfriend, also known as the last song on this little planet. It came out in 2002 by Studio Gonzo. It was on winter 2002. Ooh.
Ooh. Is there a discrepancy in the force?
What?
No, it was summer
It
2002.
premiered summer 2002.
Yeah. July 2nd.
Yeah.
Yep.
So our summer, your winter.
Right.
Oh, well. I mean,
There's discrepancy in his idea of what summer and winter
There's a
is.
discrepancy in the force.
yeah, well, I mean, South Hemisphere. There's nothing I can do about it.
Is it safe to say at this point in this retrocast that Studio Gonzo, you could flip a coin and that anime is either going to be good or bad?
That's if it's a 3-sided coin and 2 of the sides are bad, then yes. I think they have a higher miss percentage than I have a hit percentage. So,
I don't know. I'll have to take a better look at the list of things Gonzo fucked up.
I'll say.
Anyway, it's an
right.
adaptation of a manga of the same name. So basically, the story goes like that. We follow Shuji, which is a third year on high school, and he just got a girlfriend called Chise. They were childhood friends. She confessed, and he said yes. So they start going out.
Woohoo!
I believe the words he used were, why not?
Yep.
Something like that. He was like, well...
He's like, whatever, I guess a girlfriend is... sure,
well,
I'll give it a try.
He has a good...
I do the same.
he has a good argument just saying yes. It's like if a cute girl comes to you and say, "Yo, do you want to go out with me?" Oh, you're gonna say yes. Like, yeah, sure, I can.
Yep.
I can
They
blame
did
him.
the same thing in High School DxD. Look at that! Look where that got him.
Indeed. And basically, he's living his life in high school and minding his own business, chatting with friends, and why not? Until one of his friends kind of breaks up with his girlfriend and decides to go out to buy a present, so, see if he can get her back. What happens is, after they are done with this slice of life stuff, when they go out, there's an air raid. And bombs start falling, and his friend dies. But he sees something that makes him go in shock. He sees a figure in the sky, and he runs towards it and discovers that it's his girlfriend, who had become the ultimate weapon. and that's how we start.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre opening to a show. I mean, yeah, there's like a diary exchange or some shit.
Yeah,
no one cares about that.
Yeah,
no one cares about that, but the show sure makes you want to care about it. Chisei's on her way from home. There's like shady figures, like out of Power Rangers. That's what it reminded me of. I felt like I was watching Power Rangers in that scene because the guys are in the foreground, but in the lower left corner, and they got the sunglasses, the black suit, and they kind of look around like, is anyone watching us? All right, let's go get this girl.
yeah. Basically, you have the first episode, which doesn't nothing happens aside from juvenile romance. Then in the second episode, they kind of
and a bunch of moe stuff happening.
Yeah, they kind of explain the reason why they want to go out. Like Chisa said, I just said I wanted to go out with you because I'm very shy and I wanted to change myself. But you said yes. I thought you were gonna decline. And he's like, well, you're cute. I'm gonna say yes whenever a cute girl tells me I want to go out with you, and that kind of comes in play in the anime in the future.
Yeah, there's even a sentence at the beginning of the show when he's walking up the large hill they have to go to in order to get to school, and Chisei's behind him, and he's like, "This is Chisei. She's a clumsy, ditz, not very smart or athletic girl," and then it cuts to her like falling down and a bell rings on her back, and she always has like band-aids on her knees and
no way.
It's dare I say moe?
Moe. Like I said, I'm giving a shit now because it's that fucking. I don't believe you, Hickey, but you clearly do like the early 2000 dumpy moe faces.
Oh, I don't. No.
No, you do.
No. The potato faces.
If you didn't, you wouldn't recommend these shows all the time.
Because I want you guys to experience something out of your comfort zone. That's why. In the second,
I quite a lot outside my comfort zone.
Just for the sake of the audience listening, here I'm gonna play in this moment that the English line of her walking up that hill with that little monologue sentence.
Oh, please, no.
Chisei is cute, but slow. She's little, timid, and on top of that, really clumsy.
All right. So
the second
one thing I'd like to note for sure.
Just let me finish until the part he discovered like she's the ultimate weapon. Because like in the second episode, they kind of tell like, oh, I don't actually like you. It was just that I wanted to change myself, blah blah blah. But they decided that, I want to try and fall in love with you, and let's try being a couple. So they decided to keep going with a diary. The diary is kind of important. Like it is a diary about their lives. So like it's kind of exchanging letters, which is kind of weird because they're in the same place. But anyway, and then episode 3 happens when you have the air raid, and you had some people commenting on what is happening on the outside world, but then you realize what is really going on in episode 3 with the air raid, and they say, we don't comment about. We have this unspoken rule that we won't comment about the war that is going on outside. or anything that happens, or the deaths. So like, okay, so something big is
I
going on.
thought that was really weird.
It's not the point, JD. It's all an allegory for something else that I'll get into later.
I don't know. I just thought it was weird that they blatantly said that so early in the show. Like, we're not gonna acknowledge what's happening.
You think that's weird? You think that's weird? I think it's fucking weird that one of the guys that Chise eventually shoots down, or he survives the plane crash in there, like in the forest, and it's like the people of the town, they get noise about this, so they go to hunt them. This guy is a foreigner. He's American. He speaks broken English like all Americans does, at least in anime. And
I feel like that's even getting ahead of where we are now.
No, I know, sure. But the point I'm trying. That's not the point. I'm going to go even further ahead, because even later, like what happens is the guys that they're fighting then, they're Japanese. So it's kind of like I don't get who's the enemy. It's like
no, it's you don't know because they blatantly say at the start we're not going to discuss it.
No, I know, but there appears to not be a single enemy. It appears like everyone's the enemy.
Yeah, that's quite the point of the show makes. Everyone is an enemy and everyone is at war at some point. They just
with each other.
With each other.
But as far as I was ever concerned, it was always just the Japanese against somebody.
The Japanese against the Japanese. But she also dispels that myth later on when she says something about, the entire world except for Japan is destroyed. So that also doesn't make sense.
Anyways, move on, Hickey. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
Don't worry about it. So basically, they made some experiment on Chise and she became the ultimate weapon because, I don't know, they never explained. So she...
Yeah, they never explained that either.
Yeah, she started going
common trend.
Like, she started going to wars and why not. And meanwhile, in the city, Shuji is having a normal life. A normal high school life. Same goes to Chise when she's on the school. And, they try some stuff. They tried to escape at some point. They didn't succeed. There's some earthquakes going on because it's Japan. I don't know why the earthquakes were so important. But anyway, until you go like that, it's nothing really important happens until episode 6. I guess aside from Fuyumi coming, and Fuyumi is a older teacher of Shuji and Chise. And well,
yeah. She's the ex-PE teacher of them when they were, I guess, like 6 or 8 years old or something.
They said middle school, so no.
Alright, so 13.
Yeah.
They look like they were 6 or 8 in the pictures that they showed.
I know.
Yeah, it doesn't... Yeah, and she has a little bit of story with Shuji because they kind of had sex in a shed.
Yep. Just a casual amount. Just casual rape. Nothing more.
Just casual teacher-child rape. No big deal. God.
It's not rape. It's a woman on a guy. That can't be rape.
Oh, God. Don't even start with that. Well, I guess the show,
okay.
like, is it just me? I don't remember, but did any of Shuji's, friends or even Chise acknowledge that he boned the teacher when he was young?
Nope.
I don't even think that was ever addressed, was it?
It was.
No, Chise has this moment where he's like, "Oh, I see you're going back to her," when he was cheating on her. But
no, there was one point, he's hugging her, and me and Fuyumi Sensei, we had sex when I was younger.
He says that.
No, that was later. That was
later.
When he was already cheating on Chise.
No, he was talking about how they had sex when they were in middle school. But that's kind of it. That's kind of it.
Yeah, that's kind of it.
That's when she's asked that, why can't you lie to me?
He wants to cheat on Chise, but he can't.
Yeah.
He can get a erection.
I think he went through with it at least once or twice.
No, I think he wanted to cheat on Chise because the burden of dating a M4. No, I'm just kidding. Dating the ultimate weapon. it's too much for him. So like he wants something more normal. That's why he sometimes almost cheat on her, but he remembers that he cannot leave her alone and really loves her, even though they're going out for like 2 weeks. But regardless,
2 whole weeks.
regardless, he loves
real
her
love right there.
and cannot cheat on her. That's why, but he sure tries more than once.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he went through with it.
No.
No.
He went to her house multiple
You guys
times.
say he didn't?
Yeah, he went to her house multiple times, and she even spots him there once. But there's never any moment where it's like, oh yeah, no, they won't.
I interpreted it as...
Nah, you're wrong.
I interpreted it differently, but it really doesn't matter. He's still an indecisive cheater.
Oh no!
I mean, he didn't
He's
cheat.
just indecisive.
He's just indecisive. Well, like episode
I mean,
6.
to be fair to Shuji though, like let's just be fair. Who wouldn't be indecisive when you learn that your fucking girlfriend isn't even human anymore? She's the ultimate weapon. It's like,
Yeah, not only she's the ultimate weapon, but she's going out like she's going out and wiping cities. Like,
yeah. Are you saying that you're that faithful to your girlfriend of 2 weeks that you're like, nah, I must fucking stick with her no matter what. We have been dating for 2 whole weeks. This is the one.
Yeah, but the show portrayed it like they had been going out for years and years, and they've had these deep residing feelings within each other this whole time.
We're gonna touch on that when we come to episode 6.
I'll calm down.
Yeah. Let me just get So like in episode 4 they go on a date and why not, but episode 5 and episode 6 they are the turning point of the anime, because and that's why why they're going out for like 2 weeks. They hold hands and blah blah blah. They kissed once. This show on episode 5 it gives you its welcoming card, which is being as pretentious as you can be in the show. Because in episode 5 we start seeing the war, and on episode 5 like a few friends of Shuji, they went missing from the show on episode 4, and they reappeared in the military in episode 5.
Oh yeah.
So we start seeing the more things about the war and what is going on in the outside world, and we have like this other focus of the show with Tatsuo, which is kind of is he a lieutenant, something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, he's higher on he's a higher rank in the military, and we start like seeing this fight that is going on, and how Chise is actually a weapon, wiping out enemies and going all out. But again, in the meantime, in the city, Shuji is doing well, living a fine life. There's nothing really we can see about it. The problem is, Chise start growing. Like going out, like she started going out of control, and there's an earthquake, and she interprets the earthquake as an attack and blows up the school. Those kind of things start happening, and the show start becoming very dramatic. Like,
yeah, just about every scene became this dramatized mess.
Yeah, we start like very slow with Shuji taking Chise away from the school, like because it was blowing off, and you start just seeing Chise not behaving as a human anymore. So like you start like Shuji's like
more or less.
Yeah, she's like, don't worry, it was just a misfire. I exploded half of the school, but it was just a misfire. like, and she says like, "Oh, if I went all out, you wouldn't be here anymore." And like she's smiling. That terrifies Shuji, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't notice that when I hugged her before, her heart wasn't beating." So there's this extremely, how can I say that, emotional, quote unquote, scene with Akemi, where she slaps Shuji, and Shuji just slaps her back.
Oh, I love that, the fucking immediate bitch slap back when she just fucking Baka smacks him and he's just like, the fuck, bitch.
Yeah, Akemi is like the third friend in that group.
Yeah.
She has a big crush on Shuji because of course she does, and she offers the occasional relationship advice, because she had so much experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it all builds up, and they're like, "Why are you guys fighting?" Slap! You're ruining my friend. No, girl.
Fucking the backhand of dreams.
Dude, she showed up the next day with a bandage covering half her face. I was like, oh my god, what happened?
Dude, I'm just a fucking high five, my dude.
You just dislocated your jaw?
You just connected, you guys fucking achieved a deeper connection than ever.
Yeah, so
definitely a very over-traumatized scene.
yeah, it is very interesting because on episode 5, a lot of side characters, they start having a lot of protagonists in the show. Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just like Atsushi, which is one of Suji's friend. After he slaps Akemi,
right,
and he goes out, Atsushi comes running and just punches him.
Dude,
no words, no exchanged words, and then you discover that Atsushi likes Akemi, and he is wiling.
Because of course he does.
He's wiling to enlist in the military to protect her. And meanwhile,
because reasons.
Yeah, because the girl doesn't even know he likes her. But I'm gonna.
But he's gonna enlist in the military to protect her.
And Shuji being the indecisive protagonist, he's like, "You don't go to the military to protect no one. You go there to kill people. Are you sure you can kill for Akemi?" And it's like, dude, don't force your ideology on other people. Just because you cannot do anything about your girlfriend who got turned into monstrosity. But anyway, movies on, we have more traumatic stuff until the effects of the war that's going on a world scale now start to being felt in the city they're in, where you have air raids and explosions and whatnot. You don't have any medication anymore. Don't have food anymore. Things, and that.
I never got the feeling that anybody was ever starving at any point.
Yeah, but they comment.
Oh, that was the thing when everything collapsed with the earthquakes and whatnot, and it's kind of just Shuji taking his mom to get treatment because even though all she has is a fucking laceration in her knee, it's you're it's been days and it still hasn't stopped bleeding. It's you're gonna have to go check, and it's not as simple as just taking her to the hospital. They have to find somebody who can check on her and whatnot, and it's just.
Yeah, they find someone pretty much right away, though.
Well, yeah, no one's dead. not that many, but that's not the point. The point is stuff isn't really the same anymore. Things have changed, and yeah, then you got that again. And that other Akemi scene, which I guess Eiki can talk about more.
Yeah. Anyway, in this meantime, Chise decided to go full on military route, abandon the city. Shuji just goes on with his life, but it's more difficult. He still goes to school. The school is shut down at some point. And meanwhile, Tetsu, the guy from the beginning, the Linator, whatever he is, he started having this deeper relationship with Chise? ? as they start.
Fuyumi's husband.
Yeah, Fuyumi's husband, who she's trying to cheat on with Shuji.
I thought that was so weird. It's like Chisa reminds Tetsuo of Fuyumi, whereas and fucking Tetsuo reminds Chisa of fucking Shuji, and like it's just all kinds of like the fuck.
Yeah, but they kind of have this bone.
Ish. I mean,
Bond-ish.
it's the same thing. It's like I'm the only one who will look at you as human still, and whatnot, and it's just like fucking cheesy. I didn't like that part. It was just like,
will you have sex
whatever.
with me? Well, you're gonna die soon anyway, so why not?
I love that she's the ultimate cock block.
God.
It's like me ruin every moment. Now, like I didn't like this part because it's just like I'm sitting like I don't see the necessity of this.
Well, the Akemi scene.
Whatever.
There wasn't a necessity of a lot of things.
I know, but like it's one of those. It was like did you like decide to fucking like oh yeah she needs to cheat on him because there's a possibility that fucking Shuji cheated on her? Like is that what's going on here? It's just like fucking equal opportunity cheating. Is that what we're seeing here? Because that's like the only way I can have this possibly make sense.
There's a lot of spite sex in the show, or at least attempted spite sex.
Yeah, they never actually did it.
Well, until the very end.
I took off my shirt and I'm like, "You're gonna die," and he's like, "Oh god."
No, they definitely had sex.
Nah, she stopped him. And then he's like, "Get out, get out,
come on.
Get out."
Yeah, no. Then we have episode.
I interpreted much of the show as they only wanted to show so much, but the implication of sex was like a 50% of the time.
Please, like anime's ever been afraid of showing anything.
Yeah, come on.
Well, anytime something happened, well, there were like half the time the clothes were on, half the time the clothes were off.
They showed. I mean,
they said there was a line where it's like, let's have sex, and they didn't have sex, and they would.
Showed a dying war victim, half naked, as a guy groped her, saying she was beautiful. And then she died. I think if they wanted to show them having sex, they would. In fact, they did at the end.
Yeah.
There was a naked scene on a balcony.
Yeah, what I was talking about is Akemi. And like I said, the show being pretentious. Akemi, the third friend, she goes missing. And then, there's another earthquake and Shuji is going around helping some stuff. And then he finds the little sister of Akemi, and the little sister goes, "My sister wants to meet you. She wants to see you." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm going there. I'm glad she's okay." And the little sister goes, "No, you don't understand. She wants to meet you," and start crying. She goes to Akemi's home and discovers that for some reason, somewhere, I don't know how, she got all fucked up, and she's dying. She's bleeding in a.
She got caught. She been had better days, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Dude, she was bleeding all over.
She was bleeding all over the place. There was no salvation for her. She was dying. Why? I don't know. Something collapsed on the earthquake and kind of hit her. I don't know. They don't explain anything at this point. At this point, they just stopped explaining anything.
They stopped even attempting
to actually explain anything. And then you have like this.
They're just like, let's just move on to the next scene, guys. Come on.
Yeah, and then,
we got a story to tell. We got shit to go down.
Yeah, and this is like
they got a story to not tell.
It shows how pretentious the show is because Akemi is dying, and she starts by saying, "I loved you, and I wanted to have sex with you," and blah blah blah. As Shuji just grabs her, like opens her chest and like opens her clothing, and she's like, "Oh, are you sure this is okay? I don't know how I feel about it." And she just starts
You're beautiful.
Her. Yeah, and so you're beautiful, and she dies. It's like,
yeah,
they fail to make you have a deep bond with the characters and just went straight to the traumatic route.
Yep. Essentially. I mean,
So here's a question that popped into my head when when the scene was going on, because I'm not gonna lie, at this point, like, it was so over dramatized all the time. The show did such a poor job on getting me to feel anything for the characters. I just went, now, if he was to actually have sex with her in this moment, and she died halfway through the deed, is that necrophilia?
Yep.
Depends.
Fucking at that
Do you continue and finish off the job, or do you stop?
Well, I guess in this case, Shuji would have stopped, because she
You don't
died
know
and he was
that.
all upset,
You don't know that.
but he would be still inside her.
Here's the thing. All right. Let's say
still
he
warm,
was
I
to have
guess,
sex with her at this
it's-
point. If he was to have
If
sex
it's
with her,
still warm.
hey, let's say that he was to have sex with her at this point. Here's the real question: if she dies during fucking mid climax, can you now say that you're so good at sex that you literally fucked someone dead?
I mean, it is one of my great goals in life.
Fuck someone who's dying, huh? Well, they better be old.
Well, I mean, I have a sturdy table in my kitchen for a reason, man. I got a plan for these things in the future. I got goals to have, you know?
Yeah.
These are important questions that the lawyer of the podcast needs to be able to give me a straight answer.
Yeah. Oh, well. Are we going to wrap up the story about, SaiKano?
Well, there's some things I definitely wrote down and want to definitely talk about before we hit on the end of the story, if you guys don't mind.
Let's do episode 10 and we stop to make some considerations. Because
Okay.
episode 11, 12,
Alright, fair enough.
13 is just a complete side story at that point. Because they kill, and on episode 10, they accomplished to kill basically every one of the side characters we saw until then. Which is Tetsu dying.
Yep.
Tetsu, finds himself in a sticky situation. Kind of goes on saying, this is finally my moment to die. He actually dies, but as he was dying, he was kind of saved by Chise, but there was no way to save him.
It's a fucking funny ass death scene.
Yeah, and
that's for
she's
sure.
like, oh, please, you cannot die, blah, blah. And Tetsu start calling for Fuyumi, which is his wife. Logically. And Chise is like, grope my chest. I'm like, what the fuck? Why?
Dude, the writing really came through in these last 4 to 5 episodes.
Yeah, and
She didn't want him to be scared. He was so scared. He was apologizing left, right, and center, and she wanted him to calm down and just die peacefully. That's why.
Yeah,
she just
please come
tits."
down, grope my chest. Please say you love me, and he dies, and she's like, oh,
Why can't you say my name?
well,
Big bitch.
yeah.
You just met him.
yeah, right. You start having a deep relationships 2 episodes ago. That's I don't know, 1 week.
Oh god, the sense of time in this anime. This guy Tetsu, he gets I guess shrapnel in the back of his head, and he starts kind of hallucinating, and he picks this totally random, at least in our eyes, random apartment to go into, and he says the line, "I picked this place because it reminds me of home." And he heads to the bedroom, and there just happens to be 5 enemy combatants just in this single room.
Platoon inside of, and they don't show you the action. That is another thing of this anime.
No.
They never show you the action.
Yeah.
So the only thing they show is he's
Never.
screaming, and you see outside of the building.
It
Yep.
always cuts away to anything. Any sort of thing that could be animated. Always cuts away. And this scene was no exception. Just, here's the platoon in the random bedroom he walked into. Cuts to the outside.
Hey.
Great.
They are good friends, and they were busy jerking each other off, and he just shows up in there, and they're like, fuck, gotta take this guy out.
I like that they are in shooting position. I don't know why.
Because they're jerking each other off. That you assume shooting position when you're jerking
You
each other
assume
off.
shooting involves guns.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Oh, God.
I like that little moment where they're just looking at each other. He's like, what? And they're like, huh? it's like nice little moment there. I like that.
Alright, so So speaking of that, the anime quality in action, like the thoughts. We already said that it always seems to cut away from anything.
Yep. Every time she's a fight, she just fucking flies up into the clouds. And
That's repeat animation over and over again. There's one scene, I think it was like episode 4, where she flies back and it cuts to her landing on the ground in her little angel wing ultimate weapon form. Mm-hmm. That was an animated scene, I guess, that stands out. Because there was just so few.
That missile that hit them.
There, like maybe missiles like falling to the ground and rolling. It was for something that portrayed so much action in the show. It showed us nothing.
Yeah. All the animation were usually
about the action, JD.
Most of the animation were in the cheating parts or groping parts. Those are all the animation, or most of it.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones were just dry cuts of animation. They talking or they walking. The fighting scenes, you don't have anything. Like even like on episode 9, not only Akemi dies, but his friend who went to the military, Atsushi, he also dies. Yeah, or he dies on he dies on episode 10, but his group dies on episode 9, and like there's this one guy fooling around with the helmet, and like a bomb, like a missile hits the ground, and the guy's like, "Oh, sorry, here's your helmet. I'm sorry I did that to you." And it's like, "No, it's all good." And he looks up, the guy starts bleeding and start falling, but they don't show you the body hitting the ground. It's just like he start falling, and then you have a cut, the sound of the body hitting the ground, and then the body in the ground. You know.
Yep. I love that though. And it's just like something happens, and he's clearly gotten hit, but you don't see his head anymore, and he just fucking hands him back to Hellman. He's like, "Sorry." And he dies. I'm like, well, at least he apologized before dying.
That scene was so weird. Because they're in the middle of battle, and yet this dude's just in the middle. Because when it cuts away at the end, you're like, oh, they were standing in the middle of the street with no cover.
No, I know.
Everyone's dead around him. He dies last, and our little character here is holding his helmet on the ground, like looking around at him. Oh.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. I don't understand. Where is like the battlefield really? It's like when Tetsu and Chisa sneak away to fucking grab breakfast or whatever, or lunch or whatever the fuck they're doing. It's like they're apparently now snuck into enemy territory, and I'm like, what? Where's the enemy? Where's the enemy? What are you fighting?
Like, why do I care? Who are these people? What? It just repeats that all the time, and I have to bring up the character designs. Not to say moe blah, but they were, it was like basic circle faces. Anytime it was a side shot, it looked like they had no chins. Like, at all.
Oh, yeah. It goes straight up to the neck. Yeah.
Right, yeah. The mouth was a single line. Like, it was nose, and then a single line representing the mouth on a straight line hitting their chest, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, the only time the designs were good was in Ultimate Weapon Chise personality. Because she was kind of more sexy. So she had lips and...
I guess.
So like they would show the lips and more details of the face. The other times...
Yeah, like one animator was like, okay, I guess I'll try it today. What was the show's obsession with the characters constantly blushing and having like red hash marks on their face?
There's a style. Yeah.
Japanese always blush.
I think that's...
But it was I understand if there's maybe an embarrassing moment or whatnot, but they were just always blushing.
Welcome to early 2000s Moe. There is blushing is your fucking default.
Yeah, I mean, like the problem. I don't think the problem is the blushing because it's probably some artistic choice. But why there's this one guy?
Yeah.
Like, there's actually two guys.
Toria.
They were Shuji's friends. One went to the military and died. The other one kind of looked the same as the guy who went to the military and died, but he was like number 2 at the end.
Oh, fucking.
They didn't blush.
Don't get me started.
They
Everyone
didn't.
looks
They
goddamn
didn't blush. They didn't have the blushes.
They're too busy dying.
Like they didn't.
Yeah, but like a moment before one of them died, he like looked at a picture or something, or looked at Chisei walk away, and then he blushed, and then died like 2 seconds later. Like,
As one does. You interact with the ultimate weapon, you die.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, I have to ask.
No.
What made the military pick this seemingly random moe chick, who can't even like hold a bowl of soup to save her life, be the ultimate weapon?
Because no one would care.
Like,
I guess.
I mean, they miscalculated that. Somebody did care.
Like, it not only was it never addressed, it was never questioned.
Yeah, I mean,
the only one questioning it was Chisei just going, "Why does this happen to me? I want to be a little girl."
Well, Shuji too. He's like, well, not really questioning. He says, "This is so unfair."
Yeah, that he never questioned it. He just like, "This is bullshit." Yeah. That was his reaction.
Why do you listen to these fuckers? And I'm kind of, he's got a point. Why do you listen to these fuckers?
And then the military just kind of lets her go off and be her own moe self. She's the ultimate weapon for the military to defend the land, but she can just freely go to school. And
JD. I feel like they address that because they do have that map at that moment where she's like trying to meet up with Shuji again, with the one where he ended up at Fumi's place instead. Like, okay, and she is kind of going, and then the military is like, "No, you can't go and see him. Like, you have to come with us." And she's like, "No, I need to go see him. He told me he'd be there. I need to go see him." They're like, "No. We're not gonna." No. The guys, they're like literally, or the military guys, they're literally pointing their weapons at her and going like, "You're coming back with us," and she just turns to be like, "Are you sure you want to do that? Because I'm a weapon designed to kill, and I don't care if I have to kill a couple more. I'm going to see him." So it's like that's how I took it. It's like, why is she allowed to do whatever she wants? Who the fuck is gonna stop her? She is the ultimate weapon.
Yeah, well,
she is unkillable. They have dropped fucking missiles on her and everything. She's still alive.
Yeah, and like they have an answer to that at the end.
A singular scene like that isn't saving it for me because I took it as they basically treated her military job and position as a 9 to 5 job, and they just called her in for extra work. Because she's like, "I want to go on my date," and they're like, "No, you kind of got this thing you got to take care of tonight. It's due by midnight. We got a deadline to defend the country."
They're not defending the country. No, they're literally not defending. They're defending themselves. It's one of the things. The goddamn military. It's like the food rations don't even go to the people. They fucking hoard that themselves because they're only fucking trying to protect themselves. They're trying to fucking stop the enemy. They don't give a shit about who dies.
Yeah, there was a few times the military made that very clear that they don't really give two shits about the general populace.
Yeah, or that fucking dude that always walks around, the typical the typical high gentleman, the typical fucking high dude, or high position-ish, not quite the highest position dude in the military, that typical guy that always walks around a fucking handkerchief wiping sweat in every anime. That guy, him going around when he finally has that moment where he's just like, we finally retrieved Chisei, walks off and gets shot in the fucking head.
But that's the show in a nutshell. Anytime it wanted to maybe explain something, it was a singular scene with maybe a couple lines.
Yeah,
max.
Usually
never went in any
they didn't explain shit. Like, what the show tried to do is like they wanted you to get invested with the characters. So the deaths and the dire situation they were in would be very impactful, but they didn't succeed in giving you the connection with the characters, and because of that, the deaths, they looked so jarring to see, and so how can I say, traumatic. But then until episode 10, they don't explain shit, and the characters don't seem to want to know what's going on. They're just saying it's full of bullshit. But on episode 11 and 12, Shuji start asking, why did you do that? Why something like that is happening? Why is there is a war going on? And the only guy who can give you the answer is the hen chief guy. The hen chief. The hen kid. Whatever. And
like the scientist dude that was
and,
behind why Chisei was a weapon.
And what he says, this couldn't be helped. Every single time. This is the answer. This is the answer for this anime. This couldn't be helped.
Yep. Shogunai.
It's like, just watch it. It's like, just sit back and watch it. Why are you asking questions? You're crazy.
Yeah,
You're
like,
crazy.
It shouldn't be helped.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that. He has to have moments like, well, my wife and daughter and fucking everything died in this war. That's kind of his answer. That's like, fuck you.
It's like, well, why there's a war going on?
I lost the people I love.
It couldn't be helped. Oh, but why the war is so
no
close
one's
to
fault.
us? It couldn't be helped. Why the city is safe? It couldn't be helped. Why to make a ultimate weapon? It couldn't be helped. Why Chisei to become the ultimate weapon? It couldn't be helped. Why this is happening right now? It couldn't be helped. Can you save her?
Why are you gonna die in 2 seconds? It couldn't be helped.
Can you save her because she's kind of dying because of the ultimate weapon thing? It couldn't be helped. This is the answer to everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so weird. I'll give you an example of how much, like, we like you said, Hickey, the show wants you to care about the characters. It just felt like a lack of trying. I'll give you an example of how much I just did not give a shit. Tetsuo, Fuumi's husband, cheats on her with Chisei, or at least tries. Then he dies. Chisei brings home the dog tag and like a letter, puts it on the doorstep, and Fuumi starts crying over her dead husband. Yet she actively tried to cheat on him with an ex-student.
Yeah, she tries, and after he's dead, she goes like to the school and goes to shoot her like, my husband died. And start like
as soon as he's dead, she wants to cheat on him. She wants to go have sex with the kid again.
Already established that he looks exactly and acts exactly like her. Or him.
That is not excuse.
That's why.
First of all, they don't look alike.
No, I know, it's not an excuse, an explanation.
I don't think they look alike at all.
I think they do. I think everyone looks alike.
Yeah, I'm with Tori. Everyone actually looks alike. Chisei and Shuji look almost alike.
Almost. Close enough. Too close for comfort.
Yeah, and then the writing to go along with any sort of these scenes. Let's just continue off where she goes and tries to have the sex with him in the school. As Shuji's trying to have like a bottle of wine in the school to commemorate Akemi's death. Yep. She's like, have sex with me, because that's the extent of the lines that they write, I guess, for the characters. And then Shuji just, like, he drops the wine on the desk, it's spilling over onto him, and then he all of a sudden has this male hormone explosion for the first time ever, and turns her over, he's on top of her, and she's going, no, you're too rough. You taught me this.
Yep. Like, I like that he walks away, and he's like, oh, I think she was just a child love of me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why, dude? People are dying outside, and why are you having this kind of thought now? It's like, goodbye, my childhood. I was like, dude, your childhood is long gone, and you don't have a future in this rhythm.
I was so shocked. I was so shocked by the end of this that Shuji hadn't had attempted sex with Akemi's little sister.
Maybe it did. We just didn't see it.
That's the OVA.
Yep, it sure is. No, but okay. Are you ready for this? Because I've been lying to you this entire time. I know everything about this show. I know what the show is actually trying to say. Are you ready to what this show is actually about?
Okay, I'm ready, Tori.
All right. This show is actually an allegory for cancer.
How did you come up with this?
And here is why. You know, she says she is the ultimate weapon, meaning she is the one with cancer. When she contracts this disease, she can no longer live a normal life. Which is why she is always gone. And the situations with her, that is her going through all the pain when she comes back all injured. That's her coming back from chemotherapy and whatnot. She's really feeling the results of this. the military.
Yeah, the imagery of the band-aids over her her face, and
know,
and the increasing number of band-aids across her body as the series goes on.
Yep.
I totally see what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the military. That's the doctors. Those are the people trying to fight cancer, trying to find out a cure. But of course, they keep failing because they still haven't found a cure for cancer. That's why they disappear. That's why they're all gone. That's why everyone dies. That's why eventually everyone is gone because no one has been able to find a cure for cancer, and eventually she fucking dies. Spoiler.
I think she kind of evolved to a metaphysical form, I guess. That is the best way to put what happened in the end.
No. She's dead. It's all inside of it. Eventually at the end, it's all inside of Shuji's head. Remember?
Technically, it's inside of his heart, but
whatever.
Oh God!
That's where he remembers her because that's all he can remember about her.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So at this,
it's all about it's just an allegory for cancer. There you go. Solved it. I know what I see. I can analyze stuff.
Yeah. At this point, like, I don't even care anymore.
That makes more sense than the actual story that was put in front of us. That's for sure.
I know.
That is more.
So can we talk about how the show ends now?
Sure. I mean, I already kind of spoiled it, but yeah.
But anyway, so like until this time, I guess episode 10, Chise kills a bunch of people from all the military. Everyone is dead. There's only 2 cities on Earth, and so she's like, "I'm done with this. I'm done with the fight. I'm just gonna be happy with Shuji until I die because the ultimate weapon thing inside of her is going out of control." And by that, it's just like she needs to take medicine.
The cancer spray.
She needs to take some medicine to control it, and there's not a lot of medicine to keep her alive to more than like 4 weeks, I think. So she decided to get Shuji, and Shuji and her goes to another city to start a married life.
Yeah, some kind of port town. They just kind of ditch the city they're in. Shuji gets like some fishmonger job, and Chise gets to break plates at a soup kitchen.
Yep.
Yeah.
They love them away.
And so we kind of went back to like the middle of the series where nothing really is happening. Until like Shuji.
Yeah, it was like this hard
Shuji
reset.
has like find his bike and wants to fix it to go on a date with Chise, blah blah blah. One of his coworkers can fix the bike, and he fixes it. And they're like, "Yeah, oh, you fixed the bike, thank you." And the guy's like, "Yeah, now give me the lunch, Chise's lunch, like Chise's made lunch, just like he promised." They're just having a great time until an air raid starts, and a bomb lands right next to Shuji and his friends. And by the way, the animation of the missile hitting the ground is spectacular. Actually, you can see the body of the guy, like the guy who fixed the motorcycle, going, like being thrown in the air and twisting as the flame engulfs him. So it was kind of a very good animation to the stand-up of the show. And again,
yeah, one scene doesn't make up for the series, though.
Yeah, no,
you know what that scene makes of this show? Way more pretentious than I thought it would be. Because then, the guy you just met has a very traumatic death. And then, like, Shuji, from a miracle, survives the missile hitting, looks at the guy, like,
basically
sees the body of the guy, like, laying next to the motorcycle. And then he has, like, this, I don't know what you call it, like, epiphany about the guy, going a very smooth voice, saying, "Oh, I hope you can go on a date with Chise," as the motorcycle explodes and he gets on fire. So like it's a very traumatic death to a character like you've met in the beginning of the episode, so you know the guy for 20 minutes, which like 3 days in the anime, I guess. And he has this very traumatic death because it's the anime again. The anime doesn't want you to experience a bond with characters. They want you to experience traumatic deaths of people. That is the only thing they want you to at this point. So he goes home and Chise can't do anything. She can't fight off because she doesn't have the medicine and cancer is going all over her. Fine, you won, daughter. Episode 12. Yeah. Episode 12. It is not the same thing, but like Chise is dying. There's not only there's the medicine is over, the meds are over, the drug keeping her alive.
The chemo pills and the Adderall just not mixing together well, I guess, at this point.
And she's dying. So what Shuji does is scream, holding her outside, so the military can come in and like grab Chise and save her life. Because the guy, the high-ranked military guy is still there. And he says, like, I'm not here anymore because of my job, because I technically don't have a job anymore. Because, you know, everyone is dead. But I want to save Chise.
Man, been there, let me tell you that, guys.
Been there, done her. What?
Been there, yeah. Well, boy, is that a phrase for the anime? That's another one.
So Chise goes away with the military and Shuji goes back home. And then we have the masterpiece of 2002, that is the second part of episode 12, where Chise is back, but she was reconstructed by the military. And she doesn't remember who Shuji is, but she kind of was programmed, the old Chise kind of programmed the new Chise to go to a specific location, which was like the place where they first met, like where she confessed and whatnot, when Shuji was there. And in this meantime, Shuji find the Shuji
the old diary exchanges.
It's not the diary exchanges. It's a diary Chise wrote by herself and tells everything that is going on with her life and the war she fought. And he's like, this is the account of the end of humanity, and start crying. Chise comes by and says, why are you crying? Why am I crying? Why am I here?
What? No, she goes, what are these fluids coming out of me?
What are these fluids coming out of me? Why are you crying? She has this fucking, like, moment where she is just not remembering, doesn't know about stuff, but at the same time she does remember and know about it.
Yeah, it's quite confusing because like it's conflicting, and then Shuji's like, I'm your boyfriend, you are my girlfriend, wanna have sex? And she's like, I don't know, do we wanna have sex?
And she's like, yes.
And he's like, hell yeah, I wanna have sex. So she kind of remembers who he is, and
she's like, but I don't have a reproductive system because weapons don't need that shit.
Well, I mean,
a function.
Yeah, it's like, sure, we could have sex. I won't feel anything down there, anyways. It's like, what is happening?
And she's like, okay,
in front
I
of
remember
my eyes right now?
Cancer.
Meanwhile, before they just got naked, she goes like, okay, I remember you now, and I actually didn't want you, so I erased the memory of you, but I love you so much. These 2 months we've been together that I cannot forget who you are and how I love you, how much I love you.
My
and
God.
So
I would have loved it if she was I can't forget about you, Tetsu. And he's like, who?
Yeah, and like,
I can't forget about you. Who are you again?
Take notes that this is like 2 or 3 months. Like, it is.
God damn it. The time frame. What the fuck?
It feels more. It feels like it feels at least like 2 or 3 years passed by, but no, it was just 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, they even like half-assed made the characters look older than what time had actually passed. Like,
Yep. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of problems in the show. We're gonna cover it all when we're done taking accounts of the happenings. So anyway, end of the episode, their clothes magically disappeared and they're naked. So episode 13 is just the enemy which kind of I thought died on episode 10, is back. Chise has parts of a cancer thing in the sky, the missiles, and everyone dies except for Shuji. Shuji is the last human alive.
Attack of the CG tsunami.
Yeah, the CG.
Oh, that happened later, but it was like
No, that was the
aliens
final
attacking
episode.
or some shit. I'm like, what is
that was
happening
Chise.
here?
That was Chise's part.
Yeah, the things out of the sky she's trying to protect. But it's like, again, we have all these things that say, oh, they're attacking. But again, everything is up in the fucking clouds, and we don't see shit.
Yeah, on the sky, over the clouds. Even Chise's part. How is that happening?
Who knows? Who cares?
Who knows? It doesn't even matter at this point anymore. You're just like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
sure.
I fucking love when she
going
goes
with-
up to the sky to fucking protect them, and it just says that also the first time you actually heard her ever take damage in her life. It's like, ow, it's like,
so
all
like-
right.
Everyone died. Shuji.
The way I was looking at it, I just go, aliens are attacking. I'm done. That's how I felt about it. I didn't
Aliens
even
didn't
like
attack.
It's
care to
humanity.
listen anymore.
It's
It was
humanity. It's
way
the
weirder
it's the
than
cancer.
Aliens attack. So like,
I look at that point. I was accepting aliens.
Shuji's the
But it
I
was
was
it was
so
alien.
checked out.
It was cancer, JD.
yeah, it was cancer, JD. So Shuji is the last.
But isn't cancer the
Shut up,
aliens
JD.
of our?
No.
Shuji is the last human alive. We're gonna touch on the aliens after this. Shuji is the last human alive.
That's alright.
But actually, Chise evolved to this metaphysic form where Shuji can listen to her. And she'd say something like, yeah, no, I'm inside of your heart now. And like Shuji is just laying down, then you have this hard reset. Where they're just standing in school, like in the same place before where they had sex. And they're clothing, and she has a form, and she's like, oh, this is how it is inside of your heart. And he's like, yes. And it ends with a exchange of the words, like a exchange of words between them. It's like, so Chise, is everyone actually really? And she's like, yes, the world ended. You are the only human alive, but we now are living inside of your heart. And the show ends. So,
well, that last scene when she disappeared and she has no form anymore. It was like a black screen. Shuji looking at his hands and text is going across
yeah.
it. It's all we
Yeah.
got.
Yep.
So, okay. That is basically SaiKano, a very, very pretentious show.
So everyone, did that make sense?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Good.
I know. So, like, I know that when a show wants to be pretentious, it wants to deliver a message. And, you know, you although I advise you to brush off the show as being pretentious, it is interesting to know what kind of message it wanted to deliver. Might be the cancer thing. I don't know. As I thought,
Cancer's bad, okay?
it's not about the war.
It might be anything. I don't know. Yep, that's
Like-
how I'd sum it up.
In my opinion, like, it's not about war. It's not about relationships, and why not? It's way simpler than that. That's why they need to be pretentious. It is basically, it's basically them saying, doesn't matter what's going on in the outside world, when you have someone you love and can live for someone you love. Because that is also something like Chise really wants to die at the beginning of the series. But then she's like, no, I don't want to die anymore because I have someone I love and I want to live for this person, to protect this person. So
Yeah, they threw that line out there
Yeah.
a few times. Like, the power of love saved me and had me go on. I was like, oh my god, it had a lot of
yes,
just
so
bad
basically
writing.
the message of this anime is like, if you have someone you love or something you love, doesn't need to be someone, it is worth living and fighting for this person. So like, to paraphrase a Brazilian music, which is kind of, I remember these lyrics when I was watching. It's like, they can take away everything you have, but they cannot take away the things you did for the ones you love. And this is basically the end of the anime. The war took everything from Chuji, but they couldn't take away the things he did for the person he loved. And that's why we are living inside of your heart and everything is so beautiful and blah, blah, blah. Or he got heart cancer.
Well,
I don't know, because
you saw something
was inside of him, and I don't know.
But how does the cancer add into all this?
I love the fact that, Hickey, you looked at what this show was possibly trying to do from a deeper standpoint. Tori went totally just like, I'm coming up with something here.
Hey man, it fits with the fucking things that happens, and I'm like, at least somewhat.
I wish I had Tori's mindset, because when I was watching this, I just go, I don't know what the fuck I'm watching anymore. I just see a lot of people attempting spite sex.
Yeah.
And people dying by CG water.
Yeah, definitely.
Spite sex, best sex.
I totally lost it when the CG tidal wave took out the city. I was like, words just couldn't. I couldn't have any words come to it. I just broke out in laughter.
You know what that scene? You know what that scene wanted me to fucking do or watch? I wanted to go back and fucking finish Queen Millennia, because I remember that when all the episodes are still being subbed. That's an old anime, but all the episodes are still being subbed, so it isn't finished yet. But where I last left off, the fucking world was being rammed by a ginormous tsunami there too, and I was just so excited. I'm like, right, Queen Millennia, I should finish that.
As I was watching She the Ultimate Weapon, other anime came to mind of I could be watching something better.
I could be watching something good.
All right, have we reached the point where we want to score this and get the hell out of here?
I think so.
The animation quality.
Meh. It was so nothing.
Yeah, I think
absent.
Not absent. Come on, not absent, but they focus on the bad places, like the wrong places. The character designs, and what do you think about it?
Dumpy moe faces, early 2000s dumpy moe faces.
I've finally seen I've been exposed to a fandom I've greatly ignored for many years.
Yeah, I think one thing I noticed that the colors are kind of washed off. It's not a watercolor.
Yeah, it's very bland.
It's not a lot of the time. It's just washed off. It looks like someone dropped bleach on top of some of the cells.
Yeah, it feels like, I mean, there's a lot of gray tones, but I feel like at times it's kind of like they didn't even use proper gray. They kind of just used a bit darker, and then they kind of smeared it out.
Yeah, it's kind of a brownish gray.
Erasing stuff, so kind of give it this washy.
It's like a brownish gray.
Yeah, this washy color.
The music.
I liked some of the guitar parts, but ultimately I thought the music was incredibly disappointing.
Yeah, I think
unmemorable.
It works for the show, but it's not good. That is, and the story.
I couldn't tell you a single song or anything that reminds me of music in the show. I don't remember.
Neither. No, I just remember in one of the early episodes, I started hearing this sweet kind of before shit hit the fan. I heard this sweet sweeping guitar, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of nice. Fits the tone. But then after that, it was kind of
yeah, it's nothing bad. But the show is not that good, so the music's good enough for the show. For when they want you either be a prelude in a prelude to something is about to hit the fan, anything like that. It was good enough for the show. Story.
That's my response.
It might be one of the for something that tried to do a comprehensive story, it might be one of the worst anime I've seen.
Holy shit.
Comprehensive story? You thought they tried to do a comprehensive? Wow.
It seems like they attempted.
No, I disagree. I don't think they attempted at all.
It looks like they gave up halfway through a couple times.
But they didn't. Literally everything is just why does it, he said, why does anything happen? Well, it can't be helped. That's not an attempt at writing a story.
Yeah, I think
it's one of the worst things I've experienced in quite some time. That's for sure.
On the story, I already gave my opinion a lot. It is very pretentious, very pretentious. They if they went with something simpler and more humble, I think it would work way better than this, especially because they wanted you to be invested in the characters. They couldn't make it. They wanted to make this complex anime. They couldn't make it because they couldn't answer the questions, or they didn't have the time to answer the questions. They laid on the anime. The better thing they could do with the questions was answer with, "It couldn't be helped."
Be helped.
So like, I think if they went with a simple thing, yeah, Chise can be the ultimate weapon, the world can end. Okay, but that can happen. But from she becoming the ultimate weapon to Shuji being the last human alive, I think they should take a simpler road, like a simple route, instead of all the traumatic scenes and missiles and whys they put on. That hurt the...
Yeah, it reminded me of quite a few 80s anime with some type of person being altered, and there's a love story. Take Midnight Eye Goku that we covered. That's a dude who was altered, and that was more... That at least knew, I felt, what it was out to do, and that was be an 80s... Well, an 80s anime, pretty much.
I would just say that show wasn't out to do very much at all. Except for, look at me, I'm badass.
I still think it accomplished what it was supposed to do way better than what this tried to do.
This show tried to be something it just wasn't meant to be.
Alright.
Yeah, so here it comes. Scores.
Oh,
what are your guys' scores?
Nicky, why don't you start?
I gave the show...
why don't you start? You chose
I gave the show a 5. And I'm being very generous.
Alright.
Very generous.
Interesting. Alrighty. Tori?
Right? Yeah, no, I'm with Hickey. I gave the show a 5. Weird anime like this. I was
not expecting that out of you, man.
Weird anime like this is is something that I have a weird love for.
Oh,
but this show made me not care. And that's very weird that's very abnormal, because when you have a show that does a lot of weird shit that makes no sense, I at least have some sort of care for it, in the sense of like, that's funny. But here I'm just like, meh.
Wow.
So yeah, 5.
I'm actually shocked that you went that high, Tori. I expected, based on how you were reacting to it and
I don't like it.
About it.
I don't like it at all. But I've said this multiple times. With me, oftentimes a 5 is the worst score I can give something, because a 5 is something I give as a score I give something that just I don't give two fucks about. I couldn't give one fuck about it.
Fair enough. So I think I've spoken my piece. I think a low score is pretty much expected coming from me at this point.
A 10.
No, it's not. It's not Anne of Green Gables territory.
In minus 10.
I know, controversial statement there.
Fine, a 9 then.
No, I haven't watched something. I should have dropped this, to be honest.
Ooh.
I was probably out at 1 episode. I was for sure probably out at 6, and then I just really checked out at the end. I hated the story. I hated the characters.
What story?
Nothing made sense to me. I should have looked at it the way Tori did with trying to find allegories for things and metaphors. So I gave it a 2 out of 10. Maybe it's a little bit harsh, but hey, I'm just being honest with this one.
Yeah, definitely.
Nah.
Yeah. I think it's the lowest score I've given an anime on the podcast for me personally. Because I even gave Too Hard a 4.
Shit. Looks like I got a 1 up it. We need a 1.
We need a 1. I mean,
now we need something for Tori to truly hate and think it's
wait for the next time I choose the anime we're gonna review in the podcast, and I'll make sure.
Okay, can you I'm just gonna have to point this out, but my average score for your picks is incredibly low. I think 5 is the highest I've gone for the show you pick. So, like, can you like make things up and like choose an anime that I will enjoy?
Okay, fine.
Oh, God,
the next anime, I'm gonna choose a good one. But then I'm gonna choose a 1 out of 10.
Of course.
Oh, God.
No, you don't get to pick smartphone, Hickey.
I'm not picking the smartphone.
It's not old enough.
We're not. Yeah.
Hickey's gonna make it his life's mission to have the podcast go on for like 12 years, just to pick smartphone.
You know what?
Well, it would have to go on for 15, but yeah.
Okay, so segue into the last part. Our next episode, we're gonna have a special guest. He's from the AAA community. He's from the Smack It Down podcast. He will be a guest on the wrestling one. He is an anime fan as well. It is Viva La JD. And his choice was over the anime Slayers, and we're also going to do a discussion over the Digimon and Pokemon movie. So that's what the next cast is going to be over. And I hope I'm excited for Slayers. I mean, it's something I've been meaning to watch for a while.
Oh God.
Okay, I won't be on the podcast, so I'm fine. I'm not watching Slayers.
Yeah.
Hey, Kate, don't leave me.
You'll be.
I need you.
Tori's gonna be double teamed possibly.
Oh God, no.
So this has been the Red Leaf Retrocast, episode 24 over SaiKano. You can find us maybe next time live on Twitch and Mixer if the connection stays with us this time.
If JD has good internet.
Yeah, apparently it's summer, and that's... anyways, you can find the podcast, Podbean, iTunes. Please go ahead and check us out there. Leave us a review. And Google Play, Stitcher, tons of other places available. We're currently under review for Spotify, so if you prefer Spotify as your podcast listening venue, then hopefully we get approved for that. So thank you. Final thoughts, Tori?
That's all I have to say.
Fair enough.